Okay. I will call the meeting to order at, thank you. Calling the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the January 2022 CEC 20 business meeting. Vito, can you please take roll call?
I can. President Steve Stowe,
Here.
Vice President Jennifer Hugh,
Here.
Second Vice President Elizabeth Chan, Recording Secretary Vito Labella, present. Treasurer Borough Appointee Marie Brugadas, Council Member Agata Amin, Council Member Li Ping Yang, Li Ping, Council Member Maya Rosenblatt, Maya, and Council Member Kevin Zhao. Okay, there's only 3 of us here as far as I can tell.
Hello, I'm here too. Council Member Yona Isufi.
Yeah, you got it. Vito, you left off Yona and Joyce, I think.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Oh, I apologize. Joyce C.
And we got
I guess,
Kevin and Elizabeth. So
hold on one second.
take 2.
XIE. And,
Yes, that's my last name.
and you're here. And Yona.
Yes, Kevin is
Yes,
in, too, just
present.
logged in.
Kevin's here?
I
Yep.
think Elizabeth.
Sorry, I'm
is-
late. Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
And I saw Elizabeth come in too as well.
Yes, I'm here. You guys see me?
Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi.
So Vito, did you get everyone that
We have Steve Stowe, Jennifer Hugh, Elizabeth Chen, Vito Labella. Is Marie here? Marie? Gata? Li Ping?
Li Ping is
Is Li Ping gone?
Yes, she
Maya?
is.
she's here. I saw
She's here?
her before.
she's showing up in the participant list?
Okay, maybe her mic is off. That's fine by me.
And
Maya?
Marie just joined as well.
I got Marie. Marie, great. Dada, anybody? No? Maya Rosenblatt, anyone? Yona's here.
Yes, hi.
Beck is here. Hello. And Joyce is here.
Yes.
I'm here too.
Yep, I have you, Kevin.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I think that's enough to proceed. Thanks, Vito. Just a few important announcements that I would like to make. Just a reminder to everyone that this is a public meeting and it is being recorded. Second, I want to announce that there are Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin interpreters here tonight. You should see video of these interpreters. We'd like to thank them, as always, for being here and providing this very important service. They will now announce instructions for any attendees who may wish to dial into the language lines at this time. So we'll start with our Spanish interpreters. Could you please introduce yourselves and give your instructions?
Good evening. My name is Benito Quesada. I'm working with my partner Jaime. We are here to do the Spanish interpretations. The following message is going to be in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos a esta reunión del CS20. Si usted desea escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor, marque desde su teléfono el número 347-966-4114 con el código de acceso o número PIN 562-597-829 signo numeral. Una vez más, para escuchar esta reunión en español, marque desde su teléfono el número 966-4114 con el código de acceso 562-597-829, signo numeral. Si usted desea permanecer en este espacio virtual viendo la reunión desde su computadora o dispositivo, por favor, póngalo en silencio, apagando los altavoces de su dispositivo y marque el 347-966-4114 con el código de acceso o número PIN 562-597-829, signo numeral. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would our Arabic interpreters please introduce themselves?
Hello, this is Abir, Arabic interpreter. I'm here with my partner Hadi today. للحصول على الترجمة باللغة العربية رجاء الاتصال على الرقم 347-966-4114. مرة أخرى رجاء الاتصال على الرقم 347-966-4114 مع إدخال الرقم السري 573-935-975 مع علامة الهاشتاج. مرة أخرى الرقم السري هو 573-935-975 مع علامة الهاشتاج. إذا أردت الاستماع إلى هذا الاجتماع عن طريق حجرة الزوم الرجاء كتم الصوت بجهاز الكمبيوتر وفي جهاز الهاتف مع الاتصال على الرقم 347-966-4114. مرة أخرى رقم الهاتف 347-966-4114 مع إدخال الرقم السري 573-935-975 مع علامة الهاشتاج. مرة أخرى الرقم السري 573-935-975 مع علامة الهاشتاج. إذا كان لديكم أي سؤال يرجى وضعه في خانة الدردشة وشكرا. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, may we have our Mandarin interpreters please introduce themselves.
Of course, good evening. 大家晚上好，需要说中文的家长请拨打电话347-966-4114，然后输入会议 ID 535-931-558。再说一次，今天晚上需要说中文的家长请拨打电话347-966-4114，然后输入会议 ID 535-931-558，井号键。当你接通电话之后，请记得要关闭和静音你在电脑上的视频和话筒，然后请记得要关闭你在手机上的话筒，这样可以把背景噪音减到最小。Thank you, Madam. You may proceed.
Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone that because we have simultaneous interpretation throughout the meeting, it is important that everyone tries to speak slower than usual to allow the interpreters to keep up.
Hi. How are you doing, Stephen? I'm Gada.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Gada. So Vito, you got Gada, and I think I saw Maya also join in too. I thought I did. Yes.
I got them both. Yes?
We've got
Wonderful.
perfect
Oh, wow.
attendance. Great.
Maya's here.
Hey, Maya. Okay, so, and then finally, just an announcement in advance for any members of the public who are on during the calendar meeting. We will hold a public comment session. If you would like to speak up for public speaking, you can go online on the CEC's website. Natalia has posted a link to a form there to sign up. And during the public speaking session, we will post the link in the chat. The agenda for tonight's business meeting, Natalia, can you just share that again? One second. One moment, please. So for the business meeting, we're just going to go through the usual administrative items, approval of the old minutes, and then we have a couple of discussion items that we can talk about in the open discussion section. So Natalia, can you share the December 2021 business meeting minutes, please? Are there any changes to the December business meeting minutes? Okay. Hearing none, the minutes are approved as is. Before we move on, I just want to ask Li Ping, can you just explain the issue that you're having with the translation room? Can you come off mic, mute, and tell me what's going on? Li Ping, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Because before I was on the roll call, I speak, but nobody hear me.
In the Mandarin line,
And
or
in the Mandarin, they tap on the chat. It's long. It's extra file. So can the Mandarin the translator tap the right one, because they tap the password. It's extra file. It should be like the end is 558, no 5558. They do the extra file.
can our Mandarin translator, do you understand what she's asking?
Mandarin translator. Can you tap on?
This is the Mandarin interpreter speaking. I'm not the one who posts the number, but I do understand what she's saying. I think my partner can do it because I'm translating right now. Thank you.
I'm sorry. This is the Chinese interpreter. I type a little bit fix right now. Okay, thank you.
And then I see, so Steve Weezer, do you understand what's going on here?
Yeah, it sounded like the number that was put in the chat may just have been wrong.
Okay.
Or may have had an extra digit.
Yeah, it was in the passcode in the Mandarin chat. Sorry, not in the Mandarin, in the general chat, the Mandarin room had posted an extra 5 in the passcode.
So did the right passcode get posted?
I think he's working on it now.
Oh, I see. There is a second posting here.
Yeah, and it says
Yep.
5558, and I think it's supposed to say 558.
Li Ping, did you try both of those numbers?
Now I'm do the right already. So I just let the Mandarin do the right way, so that everybody can do the go to the in the right room. You know.
Okay. So maybe repost it is what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, I want to mention everybody can get the right code, go to the Mandarin. No.
Okay. Li Ping, which one was correct? Was it 558 or 5558?
558.
Okay. So
No 35. No 35. Just 25. That's it.
yeah, I understand. I understand. Okay. So Mandarin, again, one of the Mandarin interpreters, please post the number a second time. I see it was
This is the Mandarin interpreter speaking. I think what the lady were just relayed is that previously my partner posted the last 4 digit of the meeting ID as 5558. That is incorrect. The correct one is 558, and he's working on it right now. Thank you.
got it. And I see Steve Weezer just posted it, so we're all good. Thank you. Let's move on. So Natalia, can you share the minutes from the special meeting from December for approval? Okay, are there any changes to the special meeting minutes from December? Okay, hearing no changes, the minutes are approved. That concludes our old business. The remainder of the meeting is open discussion, and I wanted to, one area about was English language learning programs in the district. This is something that I'd like us to try and get a better understanding of and do some more work on. There was the list. I'll share the list from on my screen here, just to give us some background. There it is. So let me share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see the list of ELL programs?
Yes.
Yes, we are seeing it.
Great. So let's just, I really just want to have an open discussion, and I want, this is for, Maya is obviously our ELL representative. I know a number of you I've spoken to in the past about working with her on these issues. And I'd like to kind of kick off just a discussion now with kind of high level ideas. What do we think we as a council are in a good position to do on this issue? Does anyone have specific sort of requests or things about ELL in District 20 that they think we should look at? So I'll leave it at that. And maybe Maya, did you want to make any comments, any sort of initial thoughts that you might have had?
Sure. Does everyone, do you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hi. So, yes, thank you, Steve. I tried to attend a couple of the kind of citywide ELL conversations, did not, feel it was very engaging. We have a very diverse district. First of all, we have the largest school district in the city, and we have a lot of immigrants. It's Brooklyn, and it's, as you see, we have three, right? We have three translators here right now, and we miss Russian translator because we don't need it, but we have a lot of foreign language speakers. And when the kids go to school, I have kids who went to school speaking only Russian because we speak Russian at home. We didn't want to confuse them. So the ELL services I think are essential, and our district is probably one of the few that are, it's a central point here and we need to draw more attention to it. And another point I wanted to bring up is I feel like during pandemic, any additional services that are sort of nice to have may have been kind of sidetracked. As we know, special ed suffered a lot. I feel like ELL also could have suffered. We don't know the extent. So this is my point number 2. Additionally, I thought about evaluating if we have enough dual language programs in the district. If you look at the spreadsheet that Steve is showing, program type DL is dual language. So it means that kids are educated in both languages. For example, Arabic and English. Italian, I didn't know about it. Italian in English, Russian in English, Spanish in English, and Mandarin. So we do have dual language programs. Do we have enough of them? I know that a lot of parents would love to have kids to preserve the language that family speaks, and it's done through private classes. And if public education can provide it, I think it would be, true American approach to helping us to preserve our ancestry, our roots, and still educate kids. So Steve, I may give it back to you. I think I kind of hit on all my points. Oh, and for dual language program, so my kind of bottleneck was, how do you understand, how do you know if that's enough of dual language programs that we have, if that's sufficient services that we provide to dual language families, foreign speaking families. So that's going through communities, I think, and a lot of things to do here and to wrap the brain around it. Steve, back to you.
Sure. No, you're exactly right, Maya. Vito, go ahead.
So I see some of them programs some of the schools are listed twice, and some of it's because they have a DL program and a transitional program. But some of the programs, like 160, have two transitional programs listed. Is that a mistake, or does each program consist of one class? So they would have two classes of programs.
It looks like 160 also has a special ed program, Vito. I think that might be the duplication there.
Okay, so then we have a general ed transitional, a special ed transitional.
Yeah.
And so the big question is, is this separate from the zone school? So if you want to go into a program, can you apply to a program that's not in your zone school?
No, it's a zone school. It's only, so as far as I know, you cannot get into the school unless it's a zone school. I remember that because I wanted to get my son in 200 and in PS 200, this dual language Russian program. It's only available for kids from this particular area, and they were not assigned to it. So
really, so then Maya, what you said is exactly right. Is there how do we know how many people wanted the program and couldn't get it? How many people applied to the program?
I was thinking that the only way to know is if it's a lottery, to see the results. I mean, if it's available, of course, I don't know if it's public or not. This new year, I was actually getting my brain wrapping around it, starting slow, but Steve, thank you for bringing it up. So the only way to see it's a lottery. So we would see how many kids applied versus how many seats are there. So we can see if it's available for all kids or there is a waiting list. I know that PS 200 is extremely popular, and I know that not everyone gets in for sure. But on the positive side, if there is a process, if there is a sufficient amount of parents put together request to DOE, I think DOE is supposed to open additional
15, I believe.
dual language classes. Yes. So educating communities as well, educating communities and sharing how to do that. So I guess that also may help.
So, but Maya, it's you would think, right? So if 50 parents sign in for the 200 program and they only have 25 seats, you would think that because 50 parents wanted it, the DOE would automatically open up another class, but that's not necessarily true. They're gonna let the parents
take
it upon themselves to have to apply for. Is that correct?
That's what I understand. But what I'm saying is that needs to be organized as a communication to DOE, saying that we do not serve enough of parents, that there is a need. And probably takes not just a month, it takes a while to push it through, but it needs to be pushed through the bureaucracy. I know that parents organized it in the Upper West Side and Upper East Side, so it's not undoable, but takes a lot of energy.
So we could request, really, we could look into a resolution or some way to get, throughout the city, all the CECs to demand that the city automatically, it's like when you have opt-out testing instead of opt-in testing, we could have it so that everyone who's not accepted by lottery into a program is told that, well, there were some people not accepted. If you want commit to this program, we'll open up another class. And if they have 15 people to commit, we'll open another class. They don't want to do that. because it's more difficult for them.
Can I also just interject and say that I did try to get my daughter into a non-zoned dual language program. And she did not get in because they were prioritizing students in the zone first, right? So I felt the process was very not transparent because I had no idea if how many seats were available after the zoned kids were taken in, and whether or not there were going to be any seats left for kids outside of the zone. So that to me is like, I would like to know just what are her chances. And if the chances are pretty slim, then I could maybe get together with some other parents and say, we need more, of these kinds of programs and request that through the DOE, like Maya was saying, but we don't have that data. How do we even know? Right. So,
right. You don't have data. Thank you. Thank you. It's a very good example. Same experience with me. And I'm sure you're doing a lot to keep your child speaking for your mother tongue as well. And it's an effort. And
it's hard.
It's additional. You have to pay for it, right?
Yes.
So my son goes, Mom, just not Pushkin anymore, please. So I think that we also need to educate parents, because parents do not know, process is not transparent. They just told there is no spots. They do not know that they can request the spots. They do not know that they can go and demand additional classes. And also, as we know, New York received additional financing, and there's a very substantial amount. So, I feel like there should be money found for this, and it's who we are. This is essential for the United States. We are the country of immigrants, so this is one of the services that would be very, speaking for itself, for what we are standing for right now, for diversity and for helping immigrants to incorporate into society.
Maya, and anybody who's been to Europe, we were in Europe a few years ago, and it just shocks me. You're walking around and they toggle between 3 or 4 different languages seamlessly. And as an American, I felt so embarrassed, really, that even my kids, 5 years of Spanish, and they still have no clue.
Vito, but that's because we have one large geographical continent that speaks fundamentally the same language, and they have a multitude of countries within a smaller geography than we do. Of course, I speak New England, I speak Boston accent, and someone else speaks Southern accent.
Way to let the Americans off the hook, Steve.
It's just, I know, I've heard the same thing since I was a teenager. Oh, Europeans, they're so great and multilingual. Well, of course they are. They grew up there.
Of course they are.
Anyway, David, Superintendent, I think, has some insight to share on this. Dr. Preto, did you want to say a few comments?
Hey, good evening. Yeah, I couldn't help but overhear the conversation, and I wanted to just kind of clarify a few things from the DOE perspective in terms of the programming. So first, these are all bilingual programs, and they're not necessarily a catch-all for all ESL programming. All parents with children who are mandated for ESL or ENL programming and are designated as multilingual learners have the opportunity to either be provided with ENL instruction in the classroom or with a bilingual program. So these are all the schools that provide bilingual programs. Every school in District 20 provides ENL program. So if you are a child who's a multilingual learner and your school does not provide a bilingual program or doesn't provide a bilingual program in the language that you speak, and it's not an option, then you would get ENL programming. The second piece is around the program itself and getting into it. So they are separate programs, and you can apply to them through the kindergarten process. So for example, at PS200, it's not just a lottery of kids who are in the school and are interested in the program. It is a separate application process. So if you want to apply to kindergarten at PS200, you can apply to both the general ed program, the general program, and you can also apply directly to the dual language program or the bilingual program, and it's the same for transitional bilingual. The key difference between dual language program and transitional bilingual education. Dual language is, yes, children are educated in both languages in a 50-50 model. There's a different ways that it gets scheduled, but the short idea is that there is 50% of the instruction in English and then 50% of the instruction in Mandarin or Italian or Arabic or Spanish. The class composition is also really key to understanding dual language. 50% of the children in the class speak English as a first language, and then the other 50% of the children speak Mandarin or Italian or Arabic or Spanish as a first language. So the compliance around forming the class is a challenging calculus to determine, and that's a really big piece of the formation of the classes and how it's determined in a school whether a section or the program continues or is expanded. It's really based on demand and not just on the side of the children speaking the kind of quote unquote English other than English, but also for English speaking students who are interested in being a part of the program as well. So another kind of, you picked out the special ed versus general ed programming as at 160. Something else to note, there's only one middle school offering for dual language. All of these dual language offerings are in elementary school, and it's been brought to my attention since I came on as superintendent that the offerings and opportunities for children in dual language programs in elementary schools don't have any pathways to dual language in middle school, with the exception of 220 having a section of TBE in Mandarin. So that's not dual language, that's TBE. Something else that's of note, I want to address, Maya mentioned a few things around like the sheer diversity of language in the district, and you're absolutely right. So in the event that children are mandated for language services and we don't offer a bilingual program for a variety of reasons, there are a lot of languages spoken in District 20, so frequently the children will be obviously provided with ESL programming. Frequently we have also serviced students and do service students with bilingual paraprofessionals. So that is also another service that is offered in, and that is in alignment with a designation on a child's IEP when they're a student with a disability and designated as a multilingual learner and are required to have bilingual service delivery. Frequently, the service delivery will be provided by a bilingual paraprofessional in the event that we don't have, like at 160, a special education class that is also a bilingual class. And I think those are kind of the big key. Oh, and the last piece around transitional bilingual, the key difference between the dual language program and transitional bilingual education is transitional bilingual is it's framed after a 90-10 model. So there's no requirements for kind of quote unquote native speakers. Typically, we have many TBE classes in the district because we have many students who have and families who have immigrated from another country. They are monolingual in one language, and the transitional bilingual model is framed for children to experience instruction in a 90-10 model. So 90-10 stands for at the beginning of the year, 90% of the instruction is in the native language with 10% of the instruction in English. And over the course of the year, it gradually shifts over to 10% in the native language and 90% in English. So those are some of the features. And one other feature is that there is when the dual language programs were being scaled up in around 2012, I want to say, if there was a large creation of bilingual programs through at the time the Office of Multilingual Learners. Dual language programs had to be started at kindergarten. So, for example, and this is something that I've explored in the district so far, in schools where we have transitional bilingual education in kindergarten and first grade, and children are starting to master English around first grade, it's not currently a part of the structure where we could start a dual language program for those children in like second grade. the program dictates the model. So these are some of the pieces I've looked at as bilingual programming is definitely something that is important in our district and in all districts, and also has been proven, especially with the idea that Maya was bringing up around honoring culture and honoring culture through language. The dual language model definitely does that, as it provides instruction in both languages and really is seeking biliteracy for children. The goal is for children to be bilingual, whereas in TBE, the goal is really to master English.
Superintendent, can you answer the question of how many people apply for both programs and how many are told there are no seats?
That I don't know the answer to. That's another Office of Enrollment question. The enrollment process is through the admissions office. So the bilingual program at 200, for example, and all of these programs is part of the same process as the general ed typical.
So then, is the lottery to get into 200 just the kids who put in for 200, or is
children there's no lottery at the school. There is the admissions office handles and monitors who is assigned a seat at every single one of these programs, including 200.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to say first, before we bombard you with the questions, thank you very much. I think it's a lot of information that's great and for us to digest. Just wanted to thank you before we bombard you with questions further. Yeah,
that's
thankful.
okay. I'm happy to answer them. Like this is and it doesn't, we don't have to do them all tonight, but I'm happy to discuss the bilingual programming in the district, and I'm definitely interested and open to conversations around where there's need and interest, and the ability for us on our end to do expansions where there, because again, especially with dual language, it's really around demand. It's really around demand in addition to children needing bilingual programming.
I'm going to interject. Like most of the time when parents want to put them at the dual language, and it kind of stops them because when you're applying in kindergarten, they always ask you if you speak English or Chinese, but if you say you speak English mainly, they don't put you in the dual language. And once you don't get in kindergarten, you can't get in at all. So I feel like our district should have a dual language program put in the middle school level, because there is a lot of people that want the dual language, but we have to pay out of pocket for it. Like I was sending my kids pre-COVID to Swan in Manhattan so they could learn English. And there was other races besides Chinese that were taking these classes. And it works because during the summer, it was like all day from 9 to 6 p.m.
I'm
So
definitely.
I think we should look at that for Brooklyn in our district.
I've been looking at the possibilities for offering dual language in the middle schools already, and I'm really interested. This is something that I would really love to continue the conversation on, and really be able to partner in gauging interest and possibilities for different sites that would be potential opportunities for establishing dual language programs. So that's a conversation I'm here to have with you as we move forward through the year. And the earlier the better with dual language in middle school, because the programming of it becomes more complicated in middle school. Whereas in elementary school, you're dealing with a common branch license. So if a teacher is licensed as a bilingual, they're still licensed to teach all subjects. So it's not just about the proficiency of the teacher, but also their licensing. Whereas in middle school, you're subject specific. So you're starting to look at anywhere from 2 to 4 teachers, sometimes 5, all having the license and being proficient to be able to teach in that particular language in order for the principal to be able to program the class. So I say all that to say, like, the earlier we can gauge interest and start examining it, the better we may be positioned to explore that opportunity.
But I'm just
I'd
saying
like to-
at the elementary, it's very hard to get in. 'Cause
Yeah,
there's so
yeah.
few space.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
so-
I
so-
definitely said that, like, our main language is English at our house because I'm married to an English speaking man. And he doesn't speak Chinese at all. So, she didn't get in, I felt like, because our main language was English, instead of like, oh, she needs a dual language program because she doesn't speak the English language very well.
What school was this at?
This was Fabrizio.
At 170.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk offline about the individual case. So, but in general, a dual language class is comprised of 50% English speakers and 50% the bilingual language speakers. So being speaking English on your home language identification survey does not preclude you from being excluded from a dual language program. So we can talk more offline about like your individual case, but that's in general, that is the case. That
So,
doesn't mean that
David-
you don't get in because you speak English at home.
Steve, of course, you're watching time, so you can stop us. But David, thank you. And even here in a small group, you already have few parents who did not get in, even though they wanted to. So I'm sure they're more interested in this. What I was looking for is to somehow document the process of organizing. So if there are a group of parents, and they do want to put their kindergartners in the dual language program. I know in my Russian community, there are tons of parents who pay out of pocket for Russian classes, and they would love to have kids in dual language program. How is there a documented process of how we can organize? What are the requirements? What are the documents? Because I feel like it's kind of word of the mouth right now. It would be helpful if we had this somehow documented.
Having what documented, just so I'm clear?
What is the process of organizing? Like, they're a group of parents. They want, they all feel like they would like to have their kids in dual language program. They did not get the seat, so there is or they know it's very limited amount of seats. So if how do they communicate to the district, to you, that there is an interest in getting more of this seats created?
In general, the DOE gauges interest by applicants. So what I have already scheduled a call with the admissions folks who deal with dual language in terms of programming on the admission side, not on the program creation side, but on the admission side, to start having this conversation. That's something that I can request and get back in terms of just what the demand for dual language admissions has been across the district, including 200. I know that the 200 program is a highly sought after program. Lots of parents want to get in, and they offer Russian in TBE as well as dual language. So I can absolutely request that information and be able to provide that at a later
So
date.
the more parents put the dual language request in their applications, this is how the district kind of gets the signal that they may think about additional seats.
No, so the district doesn't monitor the programs at the school in terms of like the seat demand. So the two entities that monitor the seat demand are going to be the admissions office through the application process, and then the school itself. The school is going to be aware of how many folks apply to a particular program. The school also will have a program established, so they'll only, like you mentioned before, they'll only have so many seats. So the seats will be assigned through the admissions process, and then where there's additional demand, in some cases, schools are able to expand and open another class. Again, that is really predicated on the availability of a licensed teacher to teach the class. In more cases, I see in particular years where a school will close a section for dual language because the demand was not there. The school was not able to meet the demands of the class for programming and have had to collapse a class. That happens. That happens more often than expanding the program, to be perfectly honest.
Thank you. And when there is a definitely
one more question, okay, Maya, and then we got to move on.
Thank you. So basically, if there is a demand in the community, and how do they communicate it to you? Do they just write the letter and you will have signatures of X many parents, or if there are sufficient amount of parents to look for financing additional programs in the district? do they write the letter to you? Do they kind of, how do they
So-
how do they organize them to communicate it to you? Because my work is to go to parents and hear them out and then communicate it to you and
So
to the C
cur-
team.
So currently there is no formal process. What we can do is we can set up in the district a survey to and maybe the council and the district can partner on administering a survey to parents to generate interest in dual language programs, to be able to use that to compare against what historically the demand has looked like from the admissions end, to be able to support. And then I'm very much a proponent and supporter of bilingual programming. So however the demand from historically that has happened in the district compared to what this demand currently is, I'm definitely here to support in expanding and establishing programs wherever we can, as soon as possible, and then looking forward through the years. The key thing on our end is around again identifying licensed teachers to be able to teach the classes. That's one of the two primary hurdles to jump over when expanding a program or opening a new program.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things we can follow up on here. This was great, and there's definitely, I've heard a lot of good open questions that I think we can help and sort of work with you, Superintendent, on as well. Marie, did you want to? We have 10 minutes left. I wouldn't mind just sort of having a quick open chat about the possibility of a legislative event, the legislative breakfast. Just Marie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get out of the chat. Sorry.
No worries. I know we're still sort of in a conceptual phase here, so I don't, if there's nothing to share, there's nothing to share, but do you have any thoughts or anything you want to sort of bounce off people on this idea that we've talked a little bit about?
We thought of inviting principals and some elected leaders from our district to come and have either a breakfast or, maybe an after school kind of tea event. But what we're currently working on is we need to figure out how, what place we're going to host it. But from what and Stephen, fill in more details here, but you've spoken to someone who has organized these events in the past, and she said that they were well attended. So I just think that there will be something that will allow, the elected officials and the principals to kind of interact. And I think it will be, mutually beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
To have this event.
Were we at a dead end with asking the district for approved vendors? Did that go
Yes.
nowhere?
Yes. Unfortunately, basically, we were told that the district has approved vendors that supply food, but we were hoping for an approved vendor that could host us, like a restaurant, but we hit a dead end there, unfortunately. So it's a possibility that maybe a school would host us and we would have it catered. So this is just something that, we're in the preliminary stages of, but yes, we hit a dead end with an actual venue.
Okay.
Because I just, one of the questions that I had was, how difficult is it for a vendor to get paid if they're not an approved vendor? Basically, if we were to, ask a restaurant to host us, like how difficult would it be for, that non-approved vendor to be paid?
What did they say?
We've actually, when I started on the CEC, we did have an issue where they had used a restaurant, a diner that was not a vendor, and it took them practically all year to get them paid. Like they have to be a vendor or the money's not going to go through, and it's extremely difficult to get them paid.
Well, that answers that.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I understand what Natalia is saying. I still want to look into it a little bit. But Marie, who were we talking to before about, we were having conversations just with the district, right? Like just with Sylvia?
Yes. Well, I think Natalia had a conversation on our behalf, Because I
Gotcha.
remember an email coming through from Natalia where she spoke to someone, and Natalia, correct me if I'm wrong, and mentioned that, you know, from what and I have to look at the emails, but it was my understanding that there currently aren't any actual venues. It's
Right.
only, you know, more of a food provider, you know, caterers that we can work
Right,
with.
especially with the standard operating procedures, there's also a limit on how much you can spend per person. So there's, in this case, there are a few hurdles to get through. And especially with COVID, the number of people is also going to be a factor.
Yeah, COVID, that's a separate consideration. And
Yeah.
when we started talking about this, case count was low. Now it's high. My view is in a month's
But
time.
it's taking a turn. Yeah, it's
I'm willing
all
to
the metrics
bet-
are going the right way.
Yeah, I see it's turning down. We are over the
Yeah,
peak.
I mean, I'm willing to say here in a public meeting, I think in a month, case counts are going to be much, much lower. But anyway, I still would like to know, Natalia, I feel like we had a preliminary conversation around some of what the actual requirements are. And I just can't remember right now, or I'm not looking at my notes. But Natalia, who would be a good person to talk to about? So number one option, have it at a school that we can get it catered. Am I right? And then number two option, maybe, oh, right. And then we decided initially not to have it at a school because there would be so many more regulations around COVID. Like we would have to, it would just be in line with the DOE regulations. That's right. So we
like everyone has to be vaccinated and
right. So let's pursue sort of a bilateral path here and just get more information. Number one, we know the schools, we kind of get that. Just looking at the chat for a second. And then Natalia, who should we talk to about the restaurant, getting a restaurant to be an approved vendor? Is that like a Pat Payne, Anne Marie question?
yes, because they're the ones who kind of disperse the money.
Right. So that's
they'd be the best.
So we'll set up a call with them, I think. Let me I just got to respond to one chat here. Does that make sense, Marie? Do you think that's a good approach?
Yes. Natalia, who were we speaking with? Was it only with Sylvia? I thought that Anne Marie may have been involved.
It was Sylvia and Bill. Anne Marie and Pat, we kind of like mentioned it, but the general conversation was with Sylvia.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely will speak to whoever, you know, whichever direction you point me in, because I do think, you know, we are a little bit at a dead end, but given that these events have happened in the past, it is definitely something that I don't see why we can't recreate it. There'll definitely be more hurdles, but.
Yeah, I would just encourage not to give up easily. You know, a lot of times we'll get answers that seem to be no, and that's very typical. I don't want to stereotype, you know, but it's sort of a typical large bureaucracy kind of approach. But let's just try and get the information we need. And then once we have it, then we can, you know, make a decision and sort of decide what we want to do. But I definitely want to hear more about, you know, how we can make this work. And it's complicated, I know. Marie, at one point we sort of, you know, how do you feel about, do you need people to help out with this effort? Do you want anyone to sort of join you in this? And
well, I think that tomorrow we're speaking with is it pronounced Tessa Wilson or Tessa Wilson?
Right. Tessa, yeah.
Tessa, we're speaking with her, and I think that given that she has done this in the past, maybe she'll point us in a couple of directions, and then because I think at this point there isn't anything other than we just need to figure out in which direction we go, and then once we figure that out as far as what will be our venue or what venue we can have. I think at that point we can plug more people in, but I just think that right now it's not necessary.
Love it. Sounds
Marie,
good.
is the conference room at 89th Street available? And is it big enough?
Probably not big enough, Vita. Well, I don't. How big is it?
No, conference room definitely would not be big enough.
Because Vita, we're talking, last time we did a preliminary of the attendees, we were something like 80, 90, because we want to invite all the principals, plus, you got to invite all the electeds. You can't exclude anyone, so.
There's the Italian American Cultural Center. We had a DOE function there. They have the principals meeting there, I believe, too.
Good ideas all. Let's, it's coming up on, it is 7 o'clock. So thanks, Marie. That's good conversation. And thank you, everyone. We will motion to adjourn the business meeting. Is there a second?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So the business meeting is adjourned. We'll give, it's 7:01. Anyone need a break, or is everyone willing to go right to the calendar meeting?
I'd rather go right in unless somebody wants a break.
Yep, it's fine with me. All right, hearing no objections, and I see people being admitted here. I will call the calendar meeting to order. Calendar meeting call to order at 7:02 p.m. Vito, can you do roll call, please?
I can. President Steve Stowe.
Here.
Vice President Jennifer Hugh.
Here.
Second Vice President Elizabeth Chan.
Here.
Recording Secretary Vito Labella. Here. Borough Appointee Marie Brugueras.
Here.
Council Member Agata Amin. Agata's here, I know. Are you unmuting?
Yes.
Hello. Li Ping Yang.
Here.
Yona Isufi.
Here.
Maya Rosenblatt.
Here.
Kevin Zhao. Kevin. Joyce Z.
Here.
I see Kevin. Do I see Kevin? We'll circle back maybe to go back. Okay, Steve, back to you. When you see Kevin, give me a shout.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Welcome,
I'm sorry,
everyone.
I'm sorry. I was looking for the unmute button.
I got you, Kevin.
Welcome, everyone, to the January 2022 CEC calendar meeting. Before we get started, there are a few announcements I would like to make. First, a reminder that this is a public meeting and it is being recorded. Second, I want to announce that there are Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin interpreters here tonight working on separate language lines. You should see video of these interpreters. We thank them for being here with us and providing this important service to our Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin speaking communities. They will now announce instructions for attendees who may wish to dial into the language lines at this time. Would our Spanish interpreter please introduce yourself?
Good evening. The following message is going to be in Spanish, offering interpretations. Buenas noches, señoras. Buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos a esta su reunión de este CS20. El número a llamar para escuchar esta reunión en español es el 347-966-4114 con el código de acceso o número PIN 562-597-829 signo numeral. Una vez más, para escuchar esta reunión en español, marque desde su teléfono el número 347-966-4114 con el código de acceso 562-597-829 signo numeral. Si usted desea permanecer en este espacio virtual, viendo la reunión en su computadora o en su dispositivo, por favor, ponga su altavoz o altavoces en silencio y marque desde su teléfono el 347-966-4114 con el código de acceso 562-597-829, signo numeral. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Would our Arabic interpreter please introduce themselves?
This announcement in Arabic. السلام عليكم على الراغبين بسماع الترجمة باللغة العربية. الاتصال على رقم 347-966-4114. بعدها الضغط على رمز الداخلي أو البن 573-935-975. بعدها علامة الهاشتاج أو الشباك. مرة ثانية على الراغبين بسماع الترجمة باللغة العربية. الاتصال على رقم 347-966-4114. بعدها الضغط على رمز الداخلي أو البن 573-935-975. بعدها علامة الهاشتاج أو الشباك. أنا راغبين بسماع الترجمة بصورة واضحة وضع الصوت على الصامت أو الميوت لكي تستطيعوا سماع الترجمة بصورة واضحة. سوف نقوم بالإجابة على سؤالكم أسئلتكم واستفساراتكم في نهاية هذه الندوة. مرة أخرى رقم التليفون هو 347-966-4114. بعدها الضغط على البن 573-935-975. بعدها علامة الهاشتاج أو الشباك. شكرا. Arabic announcement has been completed. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, would our Mandarin interpreter please introduce themselves?
Hello，各位家长跟嘉宾大家好，我姓陈，叫 Max Chen， 还有我的合伙人旭，今天很荣幸作为各位的翻译人员，目前有开放今天的会议开放中文的专线翻译，电话号码是347-955-4114，密码535-931-558，再按个井字号，再重述一次，中文翻译专线347-955-4114，然后密码是535-931-558，井字号。好，请各位参与的在这个中文专线的，请把你登录的时候，把你的麦克风关静音，以免背景声音很吵，听不到所有的翻译内容。甚至你登录影像的时候，在这个 Zoom 的会议，请关闭你的麦克风。OK， 谢谢您。OK，Thank you，appreciate that.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I see Can someone repost the Mandarin code? There's a request to repost the Mandarin passcode in the chat, please. Just a reminder to everyone speaking tonight, because we have simultaneous interpretation, try to speak slower than usual to allow the interpreters to keep up. And then my final administrative announcement, during the meeting tonight, the calendar meeting, at the end of tonight's calendar meeting, we will hold a public comment session. If you would like to sign up for public speaking, there is a form online at the CEC website, cec20.org. And Natalia will also post the form, post the link in the chat. We will also take comments from participants on the language lines, and we will also take comments from individuals who have dialed in using their phone. So that's all for housekeeping items. Okay. First tonight, I want to start by welcoming the individuals to our meeting tonight. As always, we're joined by Superintendent Dr. David Preto. We appreciate him being here every month to share his knowledge of what's going on in the district. I also see a large number of district principals here tonight, which makes sense given that we'll be ranking the capital projects. I see Donald DeRosa from the New York City Controller Brad Lander's office here with us tonight. And I'm apologizing if I'm missing anyone else, but it looks like we have a large number of people here tonight, and we appreciate all of you being here, of course. I also see Family Leadership Coordinator Bill Chin here, who's a regular at our meetings. So thanks, Bill, for being here. I want to do something tonight that's just a quick difference from our past meetings. It's something I've seen other councils do, citywide councils especially. They'll go around and have every council member just quickly introduce themselves and say their name. Okay, so council members, I'm springing this on you as a surprise, but hopefully you're okay with it. If I could just ask everyone when I to go around, and I'll call on you, and you can just introduce yourself and say what school your children attend in the district, or how you came to be on the council. That would be great. I'm the president, and my name is Steve Stowe. I have a son at McKinley JHS 259 in 7th grade. So Jen, how about you? Can you go next?
Sure. My name is Jennifer Hu. I am the first vice president of District 20. I have a daughter who is in 2nd grade at PSIS 104, Fort Hamilton. Elizabeth, I believe you're next.
Yeah, my name is Elizabeth Chan. I'm a CEC member. I have a kid in the middle school, and also in PS 205 elementary school. I don't know if you heard.
Vito.
Hi, I'm Vito Labella. We had kids in 229. I presently have one child at 187, and one in Brooklyn Tech, and one's off to college.
Marie.
Hi, my name is Marie Burgaris, and I have 3 children. They used to go to PS 102. Now, pandemic has scattered them, but I still am very, I serve on behalf of all the parents of District 20. So although my kids don't currently attend any schools in District 20, I'm still very involved in what's going on.
Borough President appointee. The only requirement is that you're an involved, concerned parent in the district, which is Marie. Kevin, how about you? Kevin? How about Li Ping? Can you just introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Li Ping Jiang, and I have a son is at PS 164. He is on the 2nd grade. Who's the next?
How about Joyce? Joyce, go ahead. Joyce, can you hear me? Gada, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Gada Amin. I'm a mom for 2 kids, one in PS 102, is a kindergarten, and the older one is a 6th grader in McKinley, PSIS 259. I am present for Arabic community, trying to deliver their contact with to be the contact channel between the district and the parents, and how they feeling and their problems.
Thanks, Gada. Maya, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Maya Rosenblatt. My 7th grader goes to Brooklyn School of Inquiry, BS 686. And my older kid finished Staten Island Tech and off to college. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. Kevin, back to you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yep. My name is Kevin Zout, and I have two kids. One is from 8 going to 9, and the other is going to the kindergarten next on the coming up year.
Can
Hello?
you say the last part again, Kevin?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So I have two kids. One is going from 8th grade to the 9th this year, and the next one is going into the kindergarten next year.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
Mhm.
Joyce, are you there?
Yes, sorry, my screen is freeze. Now I found the other way to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Joyce. I have three kids. So two is in the elementary school. One is fourth grade in PS 105. One is second grade in the PS 164.
Great, thanks, Joyce. And Yona.
Thank you.
Yona, can you
Hey
introduce?
everyone, my name is Yona Isufi. I am a CEC member. I have two sons. My oldest is in second grade at PS 170, Ralph Fabricio School. And my youngest, he is attending pre-K at District 20 Pre-K Center by Fort Hamilton Parkway. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And hopefully we've been talking for a while now about trying to get more CEC members in touch with their schools, and subject to everyone's time and availability. But we'd like to try and make more connections between schools and the CEC members. So the agenda for tonight is old business, approve the December minutes. We have a acknowledgement of a Blue Ribbon Award recipient school, PS 310. We have an acknowledgement of the Respect for All competition winners. We have the ranking of the capital plan project requests for this year, a report from superintendent, council president report, public speaking, and then a potential resolution on school governance. So with that, old business, I guess we have to approve the minutes. Natalia, can you share those, please? Are there any changes to the meeting minutes from the December calendar meeting? Okay. Hearing no changes, the minutes are approved as is. For the next, for the first item on our agenda, recognition of our Blue Ribbon Award-winning school. I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Gada Amin. Gada, are you ready?
Yes.
Floor is yours.
So I start with the Blue Ribbon Schools program has been recognized great schools across the country since 1982. The program recognized public and private elementary school, middle and high schools based on their overall academic excellence or their progress, including achievements gaps among student subgroups. In 2021, the U.S. Department of Education recognized 325 schools as Blue Ribbon schools. There were only 19 schools recognized in all of New York State, and one of those schools is PS 310, the School for Future Leaders, one of my leading schools. Some facts about the school. PS 310 is a title of Title 1 school with an economic need index of 88%. English language learners are about 45% of the students. The school was the third highest in the district in the state math scores in 2019. And fifth highest in the state ELA scores. Finally, in 2019-2020 school survey, PS 310 received positive score of 94 on classroom behavior, 99% on safety, and 100% on social emotional learning. We are pleased to have a Principal Hung here with us tonight to share some words on what makes PS 310 such a special school. Principal Hung, please.
Good evening. Good evening, CEC members, Superintendent Dr. Predo, teachers, parents, and students. Thank you for this honor to be recognized as a National Blue Ribbon School of High Performance during the monthly CEC meeting. We are so excited to receive the 2021 Blue Ribbon School Award for the hard work of our educators and students. It is a dream come true. This award underscores the commitment of our school community to providing the best education to our students, no matter what the challenges have been. As a founding principal of the school, I'm very thankful for their dedication and for our families' unwavering support. Public School 310 is home to approximately 500 students. Founded in 2010, PS 310 has made a name for itself as a school where students are supported and valued and promotes a high level of academic achievement. Our school is committed to the belief that every child is a genius and is a leader. Our staff is provided with ongoing and consistent professional development to ensure we implement the most current and effective research-based practices that develop the whole child. Since year one, when the school was founded, departmental instructional model was implemented from kindergarten through 5th grade. This unique instructional mode fosters teaching expertise and proficiency in the subject areas that teachers have passion teaching, and which in return allows them to provide high quality and rigorous instruction to the students they serve. With English language learners make up over close to half of the student population, Language development plays a very critical role in their success. Students are provided with a rich variety of resources that supports their ability to read, write, listen, and speak in a variety of languages, including English, Chinese, and Spanish. Cultural diversity and integration play a critical role in providing our students with an educational experience that is inclusive and engaging. Students take foreign language class as it is an integral part of the curriculum. They take a deep dive into exploring the languages and cultures. We also foster independent thinkers who have the ability to stand up for their needs and fight for what's right. Students participate in the student council and use their voice through speeches to advocate for the solution, community, and global issues such as pollution, racial injustice, and the destruction of animal habitats. Students set and track their own academic and personal goals and can communicate these goals during the student-led parent-teacher conferences that are held twice a year. Our school assists students in becoming critical, lifelong learners. At PS 310, the School for Future Leaders, students lead, learn, and grow. So here I would like to invite two students to share with you their experiences at PS 310. So first we will invite Brian. Brian, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Brian Isabella. I'm a third grade student from PS 310. I am very happy here to share my experience with you. I like being in this school because the school offers great learning opportunities. In addition to regular classes, we have coding class, robotic class, arts and music to learn how to play instruments. We also take a foreign language class. I have been in the school for 4 years already, from kindergarten to third grade. My teachers are wonderful. They care about us and give us support. We can always go to them when we want to talk. Throughout the years, I have learned the 7 habits. I learned to have good teamwork with my classmates, respect each other's opinions and cultures, and synergize among ourselves. I will bring these good habits to my future study. Furthermore, my teachers are kind and always give us really fun activities. They always lead students step by step on stuff they don't know. I feel proud and happy that PS 310 got the National Blue Ribbon Award. I will continue to be a great student and learn to be confident. I hope more students have opportunities to study in PS 310. Thank you for inviting me to speak here.
Thank you, Brian. Next, I would invite Avera Liu.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avera Liu. I am a third grade student from PS 310. I love being a part of PS 310 because the school offers strong academic excellence. At the same time, it also offers many productive extracurriculars. For example, there is singing class, guitar class, violin class, coding class, technology class, and many more. It allows kids like me to learn things at a young age. Throughout all the time I have been in the school, I have learned the skills of the 7 habits. My most memorable few are to be proactive, teamwork, respectful, and synergize. Further, my teachers are very supportive and inspiring. They always guide students to reach their full potential. I feel very proud and happy that my school received this National Blue Ribbon Award. I believe such an award empowers the school as a whole. The parents of students that are attending the school and also make students such as me feel grateful for attending such a school with confidence and proud. Thank you for letting me speak here.
Hey, thank you, Avera. So PS 310 community thank the district for the ongoing support and guidance. Thank you to parents who have been so supportive of us, and for the students who have been resilient, dedicated, and hardworking, especially during the pandemic. And thank you for this opportunity to speak in the CEC meeting. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. And I'll just ask my CEC members, can we just all come off mic for a round of applause here? Anyone? Join me. Also, one person round of applause.
Okay.
Thank you. That was wonderful. And
Thank you.
I'm going to remember the 7 habits. Teamwork, respect, and synergize. Excellent. Good words. Words to live by. Next up on the agenda, we are also going to honor some students, the winners of the Respect for All competition in the district. The Respect for All competition, for those who may not be familiar with it, it's the kind of the umbrella term for New York City's system-wide, the DOE's system-wide response to bullying and harassment. As the DOE says, it reflects a commitment to keep schools safe, supportive, and free from discrimination. The DOE runs an annual contest for students. Students can create posters, write essays. Winners are announced in, the winners were announced last November. And tonight we have 2 award winners here with us from PS 170. I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Principal Holly Signs. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, to make the introductions. Natalia, did you make Assistant Principal? Okay, I see her right here. She's now a co-host. Okay, go ahead, Assistant Principal Signs. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Preto and the members of the CEC for inviting us tonight. I am thrilled to introduce 2 smart, kind, creative ladies at tonight's meeting. PS 170 is extremely proud of them, and we know that this is just the beginning of the many accomplishments that they will achieve in their lives. So the first recipient was for the poster contest, and her name is Rachel Liu. Rachel is a 5th grader in our dual language program at PS 170, which is a very competitive program there. On top of being a wonderful artist, she is hardworking, shows great leadership skills in the classroom, works very well with others. She takes on challenges and always looks for ways to improve her work. If that wasn't enough, Rachel is an independent learner, but enjoys helping her classmates in all subject areas. It is my great pleasure to introduce Rachel Liu from PS 170. Rachel, are you there? Hi. Go ahead, sweetie.
Thank you, Dr. Preto, my principal, and District 20 for selecting my poster for Respect for All contest. My poster is about my best friend. She is a kind and caring person. That is why she is my best friend. I believe that friends make a difference because they care for each other no matter what. My friends made a difference in my life by cheering me up when I was lonely or sad. My poster tries to send the message that friends do make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. So the next contestant was Rakaya. Rakaya entered the essay contest, and Rakaya is a star in her 4th grade class. Her essay was about her older sister and how much she loves her and wants to protect her. And the nurturer she is at home shines through in everything she does at school. Rakaya is always helping her classmates. She's a great support to those around her. She is sweet, kind, caring, polite, and always setting a good example in class. Besides her outstanding character, she is a great writer and has creative ideas and always tries her best. It is an honor to introduce Rakaya Banihani from PS 170. Rakaya, are you there?
I see her on the list. Maybe she's having trouble connecting.
Oh, no.
She was here, but she was on mute. Mute.
Rakaya, can you unmute yourself?
Natalia, she should be able to, right?
Can the host
Yeah.
unmute Rakaya?
Okay, looks like she's having trouble connecting. She just re-emitting her now.
Sorry, it wasn't working.
It's okay, sweetie. You ready to speak?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Preto and District 20 for selecting my essay. My essay was about my older sister, Sanaya. She has autism, and I love her very much. It makes me sad when others stare or point at her. I hope everybody would learn more about different disabilities like autism, and then maybe the world wouldn't be so strange or scary for them. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us. We really appreciate this.
Of course, likewise. And we've got the other, I've just been informed, we have the other award winners in District 20 of the Respect for All competition also joining us tonight from 2 other schools. And so I believe we have award winners from PS 127. I'm just going to confirm that. Yeah, Amanda Rodriguez from PS 127. Principal Alejandro, are you there, and can you introduce your student winner?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. So we're very proud that PS 127 is a Respect for All school. This work is visible throughout our school community by reinforcing the Respect for All message daily, so that we all know how important it is to be kind and respectful to one another. Our student ambassadors plan many events to share the vision and ensure that all students understand that they deserve to be treated with respect. And right now we are we're very happy and honored to celebrate Amanda's accomplishment of being selected as a winner of the Respect for All essay contest. Amanda, I know that you're here. I know you weren't feeling well, so I'm so happy to see you, and I'm happy that you're here to join us and share your story with us. So please unmute yourself. And again, congratulations to Amanda. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Amanda Rodriguez from PS 127. I'm in 5th grade, and I am going to be reading my essay. As a person who has experienced bullying when I was in 2nd grade, I've always tried to stay aware of when bullying happens to people around me. For a while, I stood quiet, and bullying changed my personality, and I would not like that done to someone else, if I could help in some way. In the next 2 paragraphs, I will tell you one time that I helped a friend out with a bully situation. I play soccer for a team in Brooklyn, made up of kids that range from 9 to 11 years old and can be playing for years or are new to the game. One day, another player on the opposing team started calling my teammate names. Let's call him Alan. It first started with the usual "you suck at soccer" banner, but when Alan did not get his wanted response of anger from my teammate, he started to get meaner, pushing my teammate to the ground when the referee was not looking, and even getting to the point where he told my teammate she looked like a boy and was fat. My teammate just cried. I stepped in at this point because I was not going to allow my teammate to feel bad because Alan was
having issues with himself and was lashing out on others. Bullies also tend not to have the proper guidance at home to be taught to respect others and not project their inner demons. At this point, I took my teammate over to our coach and supported her when she told our coach what was being said. I switched positions with my teammate so she did not have to be near Alan during the rest of the game. Our coach approached Alan's coach and parents and explained what was going on the field. He reiterated the rules of the field and how bullying will not be tolerated. If Alan wanted to play, he needed to sign an agreement that would adhere to the rules and stop the bullying. Alan was not happy with me or my teammate, but bullies need to be stood up against because the more you stay quiet, the more powerful they seem to become. In conclusion, having someone on your side when you cannot gather your feelings and express them is very important because sometimes your emotions can take over your thought process. This makes it hard to gather the words necessary to get your point across. Also, there's power numbers. I feel what I did was important because I would like to know that there will be someone there to help me when I need it one day. Thank you.
Great job, Amanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda. And then our final award winner comes to us from PSIS 229. Principal Kirk, are you there, and could you introduce your award winner?
I am here, Steve. Thank you.
Sure.
First, I want to just say that everyone at PSIS 229 are very proud of Montekiel for this well-deserved honor. Want to thank the district for providing her with this award and this honor. And I also want to thank her parents, Fatima and Alahi, for trusting her to myself and the staff at 229. But we are lucky to have her because Montekiel is a very creative and conscientious student. When given any project, she takes on the challenge with ease. And in terms of her artwork, puts a lot of detail into everything that she does. She puts a lot of thought into each project, and she is wonderful at drawing and sketching, and has a bright artistic future ahead of her. I'm not sure if she's with us tonight because she's been a little bit under the weather, but if she is, definitely would love for her to say a few words. Montekiel, are you here? I'm not sure. Like I said, she's been under the weather.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll assume that she's wasn't able to make it. I don't think I see her name in the
MO, I don't see it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Principal.
Comes
Kirk.
in, we'll put her in wherever she comes in.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Yeah. CEC, you know the drill. Come off mic. Let's give a round of applause for everyone. Well deserved. It's really wonderful, and it's really great to have such sort of an uplifting set of stories. We all know the world today. It's so meaningful to hear sort of the positive and the good, and I hope we can continue to bring that to our attention in our meetings. Thanks again, everyone. Let's move on to the capital project ranking process. And I think for this, I'm going to share my screen. Capital plan requests. Okay. So the capital project, this is the annual, this is an annual exercise that CECs are responsible for. The School Construction Authority, just for all the CEC members, most of you are new. I want to give some context before we get into this. The School Construction Authority has a regular maintenance program of all the schools in the city. This is a supplement to that. This is a way for the community to participate and through outreach to schools, highlight needs that maybe the SCA missed and to highlight projects that the community thinks are important. And so our role here in this process is really to try and rank the projects that that we think are important. We also must keep in mind the kind of projects that the SCA approves and the kind of work that the SCA does. There are some things that the SCA can fund. There are some things that other governmental entities can fund. There is also the Division of School Facilities that funds or that takes care of certain projects. So we have to sort that out tonight and just basically rank this sheet to submit it on Friday to the School Construction Authority. So what you're looking at, I think council members, you're familiar with this by now. We've taken all the requests from principals and put them into a ranking. The columns, the first few columns are pretty obvious what they mean: the year, the school that submitted it, the name of the school, the CEC member, council member liaison, the specific request shown in column E. I've created a column called category, just a very rough grouping of these different projects. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then our priority, and these are out of order, as you can see, but we're going to finalize them tonight. So council members, what I've done here is my priorities are kind of twofold. One are projects that I thought posed some kind of basic safety or operational issue. I tended to push those to the top. And then also throughout this whole list, you'll see projects grouped more or less by type. And the projects that the SCA is more likely to approve tend to be toward the top. There are some projects that the SCA just doesn't do, and it's fine. We can put them on the list. Sometimes it's surprising, but just for context, I'll provide a little bit of context here. And I'll come off this, we'll see my meeting notes, cheat sheet. Just for context, there have been, I looked back at the last 2 years of CEC requests, and there have been 66 requests made in the last 2 years that I've been part of this. And the SCA themselves have taken over a total of 4, and a couple others were referred to the DSF. Some were partly done, but by and large, it's very, very challenging because for the most part, the SCA deals with the building, the structure, sort of waterproofing, roofing, etc. So what we need to do is, two subcategories that principals often ask for: auditoriums and bathrooms. And the fact is, bathrooms are one of the more common to get approved. We've had 9 requests in the last 2 years, and 7 of them were either approved or put for more review. Whereas auditorium requests, there have been 14 in the last 2 years, and none of them have been approved by the SCA. Only 2 have gotten Resolution A funding. So we just have to keep that in mind as we rank. It's not that we don't love the schools and what the principals are trying to do, but it's just a simple fact that the SCA does certain things, and Resolution A funding, that's the second main source of funding, and that comes from the borough president's office as well as city councilors. They tend to fund things that are, I'll describe as sort of, I always like to describe as better for photo opportunities, right? You've got a new classroom, you've got new science equipment, you've got new technology in a classroom, that kind of stuff. And those tend to be very good Resolution A projects. Generally speaking, I've pushed those toward the bottom of the list. Okay. So all we're going to do, actually, the first thing I want to do is talk to one of our guests here tonight. We have with us Brian McCormick, I believe, from the Division of School Facilities. Brian, are you there?
Yes, I am, Steve. Thank you for inviting me, Dr. Preto and the CEC members. Appreciate being able to assist in this process of trying to get some good work done in the buildings.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, Brian. Did you have a chance to look over the list?
I did take a chance to look at it. Thank you for getting it to me. And as I agree with you, what's happening, the SCA has downsized the projects that they're doing or accepting from the CECs in the past, from what I'm seeing. A lot of it they're trying to push to alternative funding, just as you were saying. So looking at the list, you know, the technology that people are looking for, they're going to look at that to be an SCA piece.
SCA or RESO-A?
I mean, sorry, RESO-A funding. Any of your technology stuff, they're looking to, they don't really fund that unless it's part of a package of a upgrade of an area or a room. If you're doing, you know, libraries over, they might give you funding for some computers, but just not give you laptops and carts. But I did see you said a lot of your stuff is focused around bathrooms. They are doing upgrades of bathrooms. The one thing that you have to realize when they do that is that they have to go by ADA compliance. So there's a lot of alterations to bathrooms when it's done, because they have to make sure that everything's ADA compliant, even if your building is not. They still do make it ADA compliant in case in the future elevators or other services are put in that you will have ADA needs. And a lot of the bathrooms we are also getting, there is a bathroom upgrade project that Councilmatic money has been put into. And also we've been finding we've been getting good money from RESO-A for bathroom upgrades recently. The auditoriums, you know, a lot of that, if it's more on the technology side of wanting to do an audio upgrade, we've been more successful in getting money through RESO-A than the SCA. The SCA will generally come in when you have to do a full change of chairs and do that. So those are the kind of projects they look for, the bigger projects, the bigger capital projects.
That makes sense. There was one I saw here that I thought in the past, actually a year ago, there was another school that requested a door replacement, and that got referred over to Division of School Facilities. Are replacing doors, is that something that automatically goes to the Department of School Facilities?
We do door replacement as necessary, and we can do that if there are problems with doors not opening, doors not working right, the function of a door is changed, we can do that. We just generally don't change all the doors in a facility. We're for maintenance and repair. That's what DSF does. We repair what exists and maintain what exists. If you're talking about more, it's a cosmetic upgrade because you want new doors, we'll work with you, but we really look for a RESO-A funding or other funding for that. If the doors aren't operational, it's a safety issue, there's a problem, we can deal directly with that. Like I did see, I think it was 127, if I'm correct, had a request for upgrade doors because of problems with the lights, what we call a light, which is the window. If those are issues like that, we can look at doing them on an as needed basis throughout the building. So I can work with that building to do that. But doors, because of the cost of the doors, it usually doesn't add up to be enough for a capital project.
Right. Should we, so you're exactly right. And it should be visible. Do you see it on my screen? I don't know.
Yes, that's the one I was looking at.
That's
that
exactly
I can go into the school and look at saying, okay, do we need to replace 10 doors or 15 doors? It might take me a little while to do it. Sometimes it's a problem with just getting materials, but we can look at that. If somebody wants all the doors in the whole building changed because they want a different look, that usually we have to work with an alternate source of funding.
Okay. Do you think that the way that this project is described here, do you think it makes sense for us to submit it to SCA or
if you're looking at specifically a couple of doors that don't have vision panels, DSF can look at that because that'll be a smaller project.
It looks
if
like
it's
all the doors.
Well, again, do the doors function or are they just old and somebody wants new doors? That's what happens for us. to change all the doors in a building in one shot, it's going to be a large budget piece for us.
Yeah.
Where if you're talking that there's 10 doors that have a problem with vision panels or other things, we can work with those doors. We'd have to look at the quantity that's involved in that.
Okay. All right. Maybe there's no harm in, submitting it to SCA as well as notifying you.
Yeah, no, you can put that because it does come under a safety issue.
Right.
And that's, what they look at also.
What about these two other, we got 2 requests for water fountain upgrades. Is that a DSF project?
Well,
or is
if we don't change from a water fountain to a bottle filler. There is a program that was being run centrally that they went out and picked some schools in each district, in each area, and were starting a process of changing out water fountains for bottle fillers. But that was being run centrally, and we really didn't have a say in it. We just got told, here are the schools. Are the schools interested in it? I did not have anybody turn it down when I was in my last district. But if the school wants to, if they either want to fund it themselves or if they can get ResOA funding, we can then look at doing that as part through our contractors.
Okay, got it. I see Principal Kapitanakis raised her hand. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm one of the principals that had a quick question about the water fountains and the water fountain upgrades, because we have to remember, especially in this COVID year, it's very challenging that the traditional water fountains really are not conducive in our health and safety concerns. And so we really have to look at it as a system of what can we do to help supply fresh water for the children during the day. So while this may seem like something small, it could be something large in the life of a school building. And I'm speaking for all the schools that don't have this kind of access. If the old model of a water fountain is no longer in COVID times, something that is conducive for people to be using because of the health and safety, then what are we doing, and what are we doing as a system? I appreciate and understand that if this is not something that can be funded in this way, but I would also appreciate and hope that it's something that we can elevate. Of course, we tell children to bring their water bottle to school. Of course we do. And of course, if a child is thirsty and does not have a water fountain, a water bottle, we find a way to get that child water. But it's just a basic need that we are now taking for granted. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yep. Brian, a quick question. You said there was a centrally run program, but is that no longer?
I don't know if it's going to continue to be funded.
Okay.
This was the beginning of the pandemic, and the old two administrations ago, technically under Chancellor Carranza, that this program was started, and centrally they set out the program on how they wanted it deployed, and it was decided through there. I have not seen a second round of that yet. We're still working on that round and installing stuff because of the pandemic and COVID. It slowed down the process of doing that initial installation.
Okay.
So there are schools that are still being done. We haven't been told, just like the bathroom upgrades, we haven't been told there's a new round yet. And I'm not sure if that funding of that program is going to continue. That's a central program. So we don't fund those. The funding comes to us for us to do the work.
Got it. Understood. Principal Alejandro, did you want to make a comment?
Good evening. I wanted to ask regarding the doors that are in our historic building. They do not have vision panels as noted in the spreadsheet. Do the doors have to be replaced, or can vision panels be added to each door? That could help, the job not be so, massive. I know that they did do that. School Construction Authority did that to one of our doors recently in the new building. So when I saw that being done, I said, oh, so maybe it can be done in the old building, and so that we don't have to replace all the doors. We can just take the door off, add the vision panel, and the job is done. So it seemed pretty quick. With one door that I did witness the job get done. They just have to order the vision panel and then just put it. He did it like pretty much right in front of me. So if that's an option, that could be something we could talk about. Because the doors
Well,
are
we-
in good condition.
What we
just
have to
don't
look with
vision
that,
panel.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry, what we have to look at with that is the age of the door. You're very aware of the HERA book with asbestos. Some of the, depending on when the door was built and
Yeah.
put together, it sometimes assumed to have asbestos.
Yes.
And we can't cut into those and do those work. The newer doors do not have it, so we're able to do that. So we'd have to look at that on a case-by-case basis, just based on the age of the door. And we generally don't test a door because the cost of testing a door is a little prohibitive. Sometimes we just change the door.
Yeah,
So we could look at your building specifically. I could ask, I think you have Nirmala as your DDF. I'll on to her, Mr. Salvador, that this came up and maybe they can look at what you have and what the situation is for that.
Okay. The mall is amazing. So I'll definitely speak with her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Council members, does anyone on the council have any questions, either for myself about the process or for Brian, or thoughts on where we should, any thoughts on the projects that I've listed here? I've moved, the SCA says that the top 5 are the most important. And so let's focus on the top 5 for right now. And of course, anyone is welcome to suggest moving other projects up to the top 5. I'll just go through a few that I've put in the top 5. I got one from PSIS 180, redo the schoolyard. They talk about there's holes in the schoolyard where they have to put cones. Said that the gazebo in the schoolyard is unsafe with screws sticking out of the benches. Kids getting injured. Sounds like a really a good candidate for a playground renovation. So that's what I've got right now in the first row. Then there's a project from PS 310, School for Future Leaders. They have a stage, and actually I got a picture of this. I'm just going to show this while I talk about it. Did my screen, does everyone see the picture? Anyone? Just say yes or no.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. This is 310's gym, and it was built as kind of a gymnatorium. And so you've got the gym floor, and you've got the stage, and you can see the stage is movable, sort of a metal structure. As the principal has pointed out, it's also less stable and less secure than a permanent stage. And the principal clarified that in fact, they don't regularly retract the stage. It's more or less permanent in this position, and they would intend for it to be permanent going forward. And so there's, in her view, at least for the school, they no longer need the retractable feature of the stage and would prefer that it become a permanent stage. And there's sort of less, you can see on the stage, there's sort of, obvious gaps between the metal sort of the metal plates where they come together. And so that was one that I had put up there.
Steve, can we request to view or see some of these? Because I know that as liaisons, you had mentioned that we couldn't make the request, that they had to invite us. But I have not been invited by any of my schools.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has been able to do a walkthrough of their school, but it would be really nice to just, I would advocate for my school harder if I had seen the state of the boys' bathrooms that they were talking about. But at this point, I don't know. I don't even have a picture.
Yeah, no, Jen, it's absolutely a good point. It's a complicated answer, but yes, in theory, yes, we should be. School visits this year have been curtailed a little bit by COVID and stuff. let's push for that next year. And that's what I'm talking about when I say we should try and build these liaison relationships.
Can they at least send a picture? Can I request a
You
photo?
can absolutely request.
So I can ask for that without having them initiate contact, correct?
Officially, they're supposed to initiate contact.
Okay, so I can't actually ask for a photo of the boys' bathroom.
Well, once you've got a conversation going with the school, then you can.
Okay, but if they have not and they've asked for a capital project, request.
It helps them, yes, and any principals, and there's some principals here who are very active and who understand this process, but it only helps them, absolutely, if they send us any supporting documentation like that.
Okay.
I'll see if I have any of the pictures that were sent to me last year. So I know I have at least like 1 or 2 pictures of boys' bathrooms that were on school requested an upgrade.
Yeah, but for
Tomorrow,
my
maybe tomorrow.
school, for my school, it says it's the first time asking. I have been inside this building previously, not to the boys' bathroom, but it is an older building, so I can definitely see maybe they would have a need, but other than that, I don't know. We don't
Sure.
have any other information. I would love to have more information, and I'm sure other CEC members who are liaisons for their schools would love to be able to also, have more information.
Yeah, no, Jen, you're right.
If I can just interject, it's Margaret Russo, principal of 160.
Sure, go ahead, Margaret.
I
Yep.
just want to say that I don't know that the principals are aware that they should be really inviting you in to see these projects. So I think they would be very open if if the liaisons contacted them. I know they do contact and say, I'm your liaison, call me if you need me. But for something as specific as this, if they contacted us and said, let me come in and see what's going on and let me see where the need is, I think the principals would be very, very open to it.
A few months ago, a few months ago,
going on in the schools, and the
I understand
that. Calling the CEC to say, okay, come in and see this.
But there was a few months
But they
ago, there
won't.
was an email sent out from Natalia, our AA,
Yes, I saw that.
inviting. So I thought that because that was according to FACE, that's how the process of building the relationship must start, that the school must do this. So I could not contact my school out of the blue. I had to go through Natalia to do this.
I'm sorry, but in the interest of time, can we please talk about the projects themselves rather than, because I just have a couple of things that in the schools that I did see, and I do have, a bit I just have some questions.
Marie, can you just hold on 1 second? Marie, I second what you're saying, Marie. So, and Jen, your point is well taken. And this is something not necessarily for, like I said, for the meeting right now, but I've personally found, I agree with Principal Russo, I've personally found schools always very willing to host us when the conversation does get there. But there is this weird face, the DOE is sort of particular about how they want the conversation to get kicked off. So, but we can work around that. We're just going to continuously reach out as best we can. Superintendent has been very helpful on facilitating those conversations as well. So just working down the list here for the top 5. So Jen, you mentioned, PS 185. I put the 3rd floor bathroom project up here because it's, I hadn't seen 185 in the last 2 years, at least, requesting this particular project. And so I thought it was a good chance for them to, and they also hadn't had, in some other projects, they've had success, some more structural stuff, but not on, they've been asking for their auditorium for 2 years and haven't got anywhere with that. So that's why I've got them here. Again, this is all subject to change.
May I add something?
What's that? Who is speaking, please?
Gada?
Oh, go ahead, Gada.
I want to add about the bathroom. As my son was in PS 102 and I was able to go inside the school, I saw the bathroom, and in the cafeteria bathroom, it was the worst bathroom in the school, and that was from 3 or 4 years ago. And last year when he was in school, he always complain about bathroom, boys' bathroom, because it always it's old and always not clean.
Yeah, that's good firsthand. No, that's really good to know, Gada. Yeah.
I want to share my experience, as I know I'm familiar with BS102.
And yeah, Gada, you said you were in there, what year? How recently was it?
It was before COVID-19. I was always there. Yeah.
Okay.
I to share in any invitation or something in the school.
Okay.
See the bathroom in cafeteria and the bathroom for boys. It needs a lot of work. It needs to.
The school construction authority, they said that they completed a renovation in 102, a bathroom renovation in 2019. Do you think you were in there after 2019?
No, but my son always complain about the bathroom, cafeteria bathroom.
Okay. So okay, that's good. Good to know.
I'm sorry, this is Marie. So can I continue with
Marie? Marie, I'm gonna get to. Do you mind if we just get to you? Your project is a few down here. I'll get to you in like 1 second here. I want on Li Ping's project right here. IS 223, the Montauk School. They requested an upgrade to the PA system, which our understanding is it includes it ties into the fire alarm system and obviously any emergency announcements. And we were shown, I was shown on another call with another school how these really old PA systems, sort of, these some of these are 50, 60-year-old systems, and the quality really varies room to room. And so I think that that's under the bucket of sort of safety category. Anyway, just to think about, that's the nature of that project. There was a request from PS 748 for air conditioning and cooling units in the cafeteria and the auditorium in the era of COVID and ventilation. I think that's important. PS 102, Gada just mentioned it. Student bathrooms in the cafeteria and the third floor need to be upgraded. Marie, go ahead.
So I guess I have a question and a comment. PS 48 has, I guess like we discussed that they needed those seats in the auditorium, and you said that they have sent the request to you, but I don't see it on this sheet because it just talks about the bathroom.
You see it now, Marie?
That I see under, no, I see that you're in a cell with Krista McAuliffe and Maya auditorium renovation. I'm just.
Wow, this is weird.
Okay, I see it on number 11, right. So
row 11.
I have, just, so it gets broken out. The auditorium goes all the way down from the bathroom, like the bathroom is higher priority.
That's how I have it right now.
Why you tell me?
Part of that.
I'm not paying attention to you.
Can someone mute, please? Natalia, can you mute that speaker? Marie, they're separate projects, and this is something I'd like council's opinion on. Is I generally put bathrooms above auditoriums. I just think they're more likely to be approved based on past history, right? And it's not to say that we're going to submit everything here. There's 31 projects on here. We're going to submit all of them. But you can see I've got the bathrooms grouped up generally toward the top, and then I've got this block of auditorium projects here. So it's purely me being sort of tactical about what I think SCA is most likely to look at. I do think they'll look at the right auditorium projects. As Brian just said, if there's a full seat replacement request, they may look at that. And I've got some of these have been requested multiple times, right? McAuliffe requested in 2019, 2020. Marie, PS 48, Mapleton requested last year. as did PS 160 Sampson. And then this year, Fort Hamilton is putting in for a request as well for seat replacement. And some of these projects are different. Some involve just the seats. Some involve the windows, curtains, audio, visual, drapes. You can read the descriptions there.
Right. It's just, to me, also, you know, the bathrooms, I understand about being tactical. It's also too bad that in the age of COVID, where auditoriums are used as cafeterias and as a lot of things, that they haven't been bumped up in priority, because having visited Mapleton, PS 48, the auditorium seats, they're basically original to the school from, the 1910s. And they're just, the splinters sticking out of them. They have yellow tape. The kids have to kind of make their way past all the broken seats in order to sit down, and like they can get stuck. So I think it's a kind of a matter of safety there as well.
Yep.
And they're all there eating lunch, and half the seats are broken. It's really tricky.
Yeah, it's point well taken. And don't forget, these are also in the, the top half of the projects. There's
right, but you mentioned like the top 5 are the ones that get consideration.
Officially everything, Marie, to be honest, I think everything does. Like, we get back a list every year. I'm going on what I'm told when they say the top 5 are a real priority. Is that true or not? I don't know. We got back a whole list in the fall that, had a result for every project. And by the way, a lot of our top 5 didn't do very well last year. So last year we requested a new elevator. There was an elevator to make a building ADA compliant. We requested taking a look at space for a gym in a school. So these are things that are more. Anyway, both of those got turned down last year. Some of our bathroom requests in the top 5 got turned down last year. Some lower ranked ones got approved. So it's a little bit of it's not completely transparent how the final decision gets made. They provide some feedback, but we have to sort of do the best we can. But I do think they look at the whole list. And I think it makes sense for us to, that's what this meeting is for us to have an opinion on these things.
It's just, there's like 185 where they need a bathroom, and there's PS 48. I actually, interestingly enough, they did not show me this bathroom, but I can request to go in there again, because if they say it smells like urine on the whole floor, then it kind of, an upgrade of the boys' bathroom. Oh, that's nice. It's out of date, but like if it smells like urine on the whole second floor, maybe that should be bumped in priority.
Agreed.
A smell for sure. But of course, this is tough because, not every principal submits in the same level of detail, right? And maybe that's just how maybe we have to go with what we have, and that's fine. But we don't know if 185 has the same kind of odor, right? The other thing that made me, and I completely understand, Marie, I wouldn't want my floor smelling like that too. Mapleton got some money in the 2020, in the most recent version of the SCA capital plan. They're replacing fixtures, and I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if that's going to get rid of the
Is that lights or toilets or plumbing?
Don't know. Yeah, don't know. Right. But if it's leaky toilets, then that could be your problem, right?
Right.
So I just that was my only reason for bumping that, because I did look at that and think about in fact, you can see here my old number ranking, it's still there. I used to have that number 4 and Kassenbrock 5. But I just bumped up Kassenbrock because they had not, they didn't have anything. Mapleton's has asked and has gotten some money. Bayview just had a project completed in 2019 per SCA. So I sort of saw Bayview and Mapleton as they're kind of in the pipeline. They're on the radar for SCA right now, whereas Kassenbrock isn't even on the radar, according to what we see. I mean, SCA does their own analysis as well. So that was just my thinking, but I'm happy to listen to other Let me just go through a couple more of these, and then we can sort of talk about the top 5. So Marie, you point out that. So then the Magnet School for Math and Science, PS 192, they would like to build a gym on top of the auditorium. They don't have a gym currently. They have physical education outside on most days. They have a multi-purpose room on the first floor, but it's far from perfect, as they point out. And as they point out, during COVID, it's serving as an auxiliary cafeteria. This is one that I think it would really be beneficial to see in person, but we can't do that right now. But I've got it here at 9 just because the importance of physical education, having these spaces. And we have another project that I'll talk about in a second that's related, same category. Then we have the auditorium renovations, Krista McAuliffe. Again, a lot of these are kind of facing the same kind of issues, 100-year-old auditoriums. Mapleton, they've got a lot of broken seats. Sampson requesting an upgrade. And then Fort Hamilton 104 wants to do a replacement of the seats. And then I'll just touch on a few of these exterior. There were 3 exterior projects. I'm honestly not sure if these should be ranked here. I don't know. I kind of grouped them together. Exterior lighting, camera installation, exterior fence replacement for Fort Hamilton. Another auditorium, and this is for 205 Clarion School. They got some Reso-A funding. We don't know how much, but they already have some money partially put toward this project. So that's why I bumped them down a little lower. 127, we talked about the doors. 69, as Principal Kapitanakis pointed out, the request for water fountains, upgrade the water fountains. Likewise at Clarion 205. We get down to some other projects here now that I'm sort of consider probably less likely, although I really like some of them. And actually something Brian said really makes me think about 259's project, McKinley here. They requested a renovation of the library, but it's really designed to reconfigure the structural space. They want to reduce some of the office space, put the radiators into the walls, basically to increase the amount of space they have for books and get it closer to the target ALA recommendations. So it would be kind of a revamp of the library with the idea that you're increasing the functionality of the library, not just making it sort of cosmetically nicer. School for Future Leaders, 310, they've also requested new audio-visual equipment in the gym. I wasn't sure if SCA would tackle something like that, or that would be more Reso-A. Bathroom upgrades at McKinley Park, again for Principal Alejandro. They have a couple other sources of funding in the pipeline for that. So I've put their request here for now. McKinley had another request for science lab upgrade. PS 971 wants a fully equipped kitchen to implement their nutrition curriculum. 971 is the School for Math, Science, and Healthy Living. And they think that's about a $400,000 project. Bay Ridge Elementary, a graphic design class for the 5th grade, some iPads. This next one is a Fabrizio, PS 170. They've requested for the last 2 years in a row an awning for the 2nd floor playground. There's a 2nd floor playground outdoor area that, is very slow to drain. So when it rains or snows, it's inaccessible. Therefore, it cannot be used for recess. The SCA has said, we don't do awnings, pointedly. So the project, Principal Wu has reached out, and he's very, he really wants to try and get a solution to the issue. The schoolyard is small, but at this point, it's kind of at a dead end because the SCA has kind of shot it down. He's talked about maybe Reso-A funding, but they've gotten Reso-A funding for some other projects. And I'll get to you in 1 second. I just want to get through the last 4 here. So then there's some, I think the last 4 here are what I would consider sort of straight technology equipment projects. quite honestly, it's a pretty almost zero probability that SCA would do any of those. They would probably, those would be great Resolution A projects. Any politician would love to go out and buy new laptops or new smart boards for classrooms. And so we should encourage those schools to apply through Resolution A for those programs. Okay. Because I'm sharing my screen, I can't necessarily see, but Natalia, can you somehow see who has put their hand up?
Let me see.
I saw
Right
Gada.
now, yeah, right now the only hand I saw was Gada's.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gada.
No, sorry, I made it by mistake, but I want to mention that I think priority for the projects that have safety issues like PS 310 and the schools that want to upgrade the bathroom as now in COVID-19, and it has to be more clean, and we have to be looking for this. And can I speak about something else, or just I have to talk about projects?
Just this project, just the capital projects for now, Gada. Yep.
I see priority for safety first, so I think we have to concentrate on this project that needs more needs for safety.
What about the top 5, Gada? Do you think these are, what would you put in the top 5? You can take projects from anywhere on this list. It doesn't need to be my top 5 that I've got here. What's your opinion?
I'm agreed with you that the top one is important because it's dangerous for kids. So because some of kids came locked on a stage, and it's dangerous. So I think this is the better thing that they do it first.
Got it. So the PSIS 180, the playground renovation.
The PS 310 first one.
Okay.
The priority one. I agree with you about it.
So you want 310 number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
First.
Okay. Anyone else? Any opinions on these? And in fact, what we should do, I think the goal for tonight and the goal from last year, this is the same process we did last year. We're going to finalize the top 5 tonight. We're going to get the others in an order that we can all live with. But as long as the top 5 are what we can all agree on, that's the most important thing. So everyone, please focus on what's in the top 5 now, what you might want to see in the top 5, and we can sort of talk about 5 through 10 loosely as well, 6 through 10 loosely as well. But and I really welcome any, I put this in an order, but I'm not, married to this. It's completely fine if other members want to suggest other rankings.
This is Marie, and I definitely, you heard my opinion. I definitely think, and I don't want to, I know that you're being really tactical, so I don't want to, derail your thought process or go against it in any way. I just, maybe now auditoriums, in, light of how they're being used as all-purpose rooms now, they'll get a little bit of a higher priority, because having seen the auditorium seats at Mapleton, and having seen kids kind of trying to find their way past all this yellow tape and broken seats, it was, it was heartbreaking to see all these kids just kind of wandering and trying to find a spot, and every other seat is broken.
Sure. Understood. So Marie, where would you put, any thoughts on the different auditorium projects here? How would you change the ordering?
I mean, again, like I just, to the extent that if priority, or I guess like if the number on the list matters, I would, like to have both the bathroom and the auditorium, moved up a little, or perhaps just the auditorium moved up some.
Right. I mean, keep in mind, these are in the top half of the project requests, all the auditorium projects. But anyone else want to, no, I hear you. Well, I'll definitely.
I mean, I can't say, hey, put mine on number blah, blah, because then it's going to insult someone who, is a liaison to that school. So
No.
I'm being diplomatic and saying move it up, but I'm not going to say what to replace,
Right. Well, no, and we can do that. I mean, we are here in a public meeting and we are tasked with sorting this out the way we see fit. So it's absolutely.
But also, I don't know how, like, some of the stuff is legacy and left from before, and some people, have visited and they've seen it, and some people haven't. So I don't have the background for it in order to be, definitive.
Once again, like so many things in life, we're dealing with imperfect information right here, right now, but we'll do the best we can.
As far as the auditoriums go, why don't we rank all of the auditorium projects by the amount of the physical condition of, and if that auditorium is in the worst shape, to rank that number one in auditorium projects and go down the list that way, and do the same for bathroom projects and other like-minded projects.
Yeah, the only thing, Vito, feel free to, you can see the descriptions here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I'm assuming you've been in Krista McAuliffe's auditorium, but otherwise, and Maria's been in Mapleton's. I don't know if anyone's been in Sampson's or 104's auditoriums, but again,
I've been in 104's, and I will say that Marie's description definitely sounds way worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Maria, if you can verify that, and we'll take your word for it. I mean, you see that, that's really, there's no excuse how the city or any subsidiary of the city can allow that. That's a separate issue. That's horrible.
Yeah, the room has to be at least functional,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I've seen it. I have some pictures, but my pictures were more just kind of for my own. I think that it should be photographed. I can present, I mean, Steve, I'll find that photo and I can maybe text it to you. But just the sheer scale, I couldn't get, it's a big auditorium, so I couldn't get it in one shot, just how many seats were missing.
Can you take like a video of it next time just to see how chaotic it is for the kids to find a spot and how non-functional it is?
You can't take a video without collecting permission because it was full of students.
You're right.
This is all, these are all for next, next time we're going to be, we can improve this process. So for the auditoriums then, I guess one question is, do we as a category want to sort of push those up more than they are? Do we kind of want to weave them in? Because I remember last year and in prior years, we sort of try to rank the bathrooms according to need. It didn't work out that way last year, I'll say, quite frankly. We ranked some bathrooms high and they didn't get approved, and then some lower ranked bathrooms were approved. So we can take a stab at assessing the condition of the auditorium, but ultimately, SCA will have the final word on that. But so do people want these auditorium categories? And Marie's got 48 here that we could bump up a little. I don't know if we look at for the Brooklyn School for Global Scholars, air conditioning, cooling units for the cafeteria and auditorium. What do people think about some of these projects? Because ultimately we'd have to bump something. I'm a little more inclined to maybe move up the auditoriums, but maybe not to the level of top 5. I just don't think when you're talking about a PA system or a temporary metal stage or a playground renovation that it's quite the same need. But again, Vito, where would you see the auditorium project at 48 going?
All of the, listen, I love 187. I love, all the schools, but that's unconscionable that you have a facility in that poor of a shape. I mean, how does that, seems to me if it was a private public space, the city would be issuing violations left and right. And yet it's allowed to stand in that poor condition. So I would
Exactly,
make
Vito.
that number one. And then you could put the other programs, the other auditoriums, you could rank those depending on how old. 187 is 100 years old. Some of the others are 100 years old. The broader thing, and let me rant for a minute, is that we have buildings that are approximately the same age, and we've all been in these buildings. They look the same because they've been built by the same person 100 or so years ago. Why aren't all of these auditoriums bid out after they've reached their useful life? What's a useful life for an auditorium? Probably less than 100 years, and all of them should be on a rotating basis where all of the buildings that were built in 1921, they are all getting new auditoriums if they haven't gotten one, and then bid it out that way. But we pay, the New York Post accordingly said, we pay 7 times more for school construction than any place else in the country, that places in New Jersey. And that's just unconscionable as well. They're stealing money from our children. They talk about equity. And you know what? We could build twice as many or 3 times as many of whatever if we really paid a fair price. So Steve, I'm sorry, that's my rant, but it's a relevant rant.
I'm just looking at this.
Steve, I would say, considering Marie's description, it probably should be, it would be on my like top 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much for your support, you guys. It really is bad.
Well, I'm glad you told us because that's like ridiculous.
Well, it did. They applied last year, it looks like, and they got turned down last year. And I'm just trying to tell me about it last year. Part of this comes back to what, for whatever reason, what SCA does and doesn't do.
Right. What we talk about here is, not half the battle. It's probably like 1/10 of the battle.
True. So if the members that have spoken so far, it sounds like there's a majority view that we should bump that auditorium project up a bit. And again, I'm still very willing to work with all these top 5 here. Let me just pull, I'm just going to come off sharing for 1 second and try to find an email on that project. And we do have to kind of move this along. 1 second. Okay. All right. Any other top 5? So right now, the top 5, we have our playground renovation stage, permanent stage, auditorium seat replacement, bathrooms at Kassenbrock, public address system upgrade at 223. Those are the top 5 right now. Do the other auditorium projects want to get moved up? Any other comments? And then we will ultimately take a vote just to approve the schedule, the ranking as it is now.
I was just
Steve,
thinking,
Steve, can we also move up the bathroom one that has the smell of urine?
That's also Mapleton.
Oh,
and
it's
that's
also Maple.
48.
Okay. Okay.
And the Mapleton is lucky. They have a strong advocate on the CEC. I want to try and be fair to other schools.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't
right.
see that. It was
someone mentioned in the chat that for 185, there are only 2 boys' bathrooms in the whole building.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that it's so old.
It is
Yeah.
very old building. It is.
Yeah, they're having a lot of structural work done, sort of big stuff that not part of our process, but the SCA has had done.
So Steve, do you want to go over like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so everybody knows what they're looking at?
Yeah, that works. And I think that for council members and everyone's benefit, I just want to run through what's currently the top 5 on our list. We have a playground renovation at the Seall Academy. There were safety concerns with the playground there. Number 2 is replacing this temporary movable stage in PS 310 with a permanent one. Again, just hazardous to be doing a sort of performances on a stage that has temporary folding metal components to it. And 3rd is the Mapleton Auditorium. Almost half the seats are broken. 4th is the bathroom upgrade. We'll prioritize 185 because they haven't gotten any money for this in recent years, unlike some of the other schools, which we also have ranked highly. The Montauk School, a PA system. This got funding, Resolution A funding at another school that I was speaking to recently. And it makes a lot of sense to me that if you can't, you guys have all been in schools where you can barely hear. I'm thinking about like the subway, for example, you can barely hear people speaking, and emergency announcements are important. So those are the top 5 right now. Then we've got this air conditioning and cooling unit for the cafeteria and auditorium. I almost wouldn't mind bumping a bathroom project up a little bit, just because I think that there's a good chance that they get attention. But then we've got the Mapleton bathrooms, the gym at the Magnets PS 192. It's, to be honest, I think it's probably a long shot, but I think it's worth having there just because of how important it is to have physical education space. And then we get down, we haven't touched these projects at the bottom. I guess one thing I'll ask council members is, we heard Principal Kapitanakis's appeal on the water fountains. And likewise, I also ask about this category here. Should this category be adjusted, these exterior things? So does anyone have any comments on either of those 2 categories, water fountains or exterior lighting and security camera and fence replacement?
when you're talking about, Steve, we're talking about expansion of an existing building. Isn't that out of our purview? Isn't that more school construction?
Which project, Vito?
The one with the playground with the gym on top. They're talking about expanding a building.
It probably is, truthfully.
I really don't think we should waste our time on that one, to be honest.
I think that's probably fair. It'd be although, well, here's the thing though, like we can still bring it to their attention. And it might get them to, what they tell us is especially that they always insist that the top 5, they really will do a thorough investigation. Last year, we requested a gym at another school. It didn't go anywhere. But I agree. Maybe I agree with you. Like, tactically, it doesn't make sense to have that one probably that high. We'll bump that one down to bump it down to here for now. But let's anyway, let's wrap. I think we can wrap this up if we if everyone's okay with the top 5 and more or less with the top 10. I think we can take a vote and approve as is. Does anyone object to the sort of the top 5 or top 10 here? We've got a couple of bathrooms. We've got 2 auditoriums in there. 3 bathrooms, 2 auditoriums. We've got a handful of safety projects, an HVAC electrical project. I think that's a pretty good list. And I'll just,
Can I ask a question?
please, Yona, absolutely.
Okay, because I'm very new to this, so forgive me if, you know.
There's-
I understand that you added the extra notes for actual schools who have got some kind of funding in recent years. But just from my understanding, if the projects are very similar, so we see that there are a lot of student bathroom updates. Now, I have not personally seen, let's say, PS 102, so I do not know what the actual condition is there. But would it make sense that if the renovation or if the problem is, or the request is very similar, for them to be ranked like all together, or is that something that doesn't make sense?
No, Yona, it makes perfect sense. And that's kind of what we were trying to figure out a few minutes ago with all the auditorium projects. Like, it's very imperfect, right? And all we have relatively little information to go on for a lot of these. And so, generally speaking, what you're saying is correct. I do think it's fair that if a school has gotten funding in recent years, we can put them a little bit lower than schools that haven't gotten any funding that we can see. So that was my only thinking about pushing, like, some of these bathroom projects. If they've been awarded funding in recent years, we can put them below one that hasn't. But
Because
Yona,
from
go
our
ahead.
personal meeting that we had with Principal Gordon, she did explain the situation. So I'm just trying to understand that some of them requests are extremely detailed and some others are not that detailed. So
Yep.
but if they're not detailed, like, I feel like we should get, you know, fair evaluation, or I don't know how to call it.
I agree completely, and I'm trying to do that. Like, we've got most of the auditorium and bathroom projects are ranked pretty close to each other. And again, Yona, if you see any here that you think you are not, let's do this. I wonder if auditorium, bathroom. You know, I like having a in the top 5. I like having 1 auditorium and 1 bathroom in our top 5. I like that a lot, because that's supposedly the sacred top 5, and we should take. So if anyone thinks that there's another auditorium or another bathroom that should be in the top 5, maybe we can talk about that. But otherwise, I think we should. You know, we've got a couple of. You know, we've got an auditorium in the top 5, a bathroom in the top 5, and then we've grouped the bathrooms together. We've grouped the rest of the auditoriums together. And these are all in the top 12, right?
I mean, it's just difficult to do this because we have such little information to go on. I would do it more by safety and need-based, because a school that has a lot of requests probably hasn't had the updates in a long time, and that's why the requests are piling up. But at the same time, I don't know how bad it is if I haven't got more details from how it's functioning. If it's, you know, it's very difficult to rank based on these few sentences from each school.
This is imperfect. It's an imperfect process.
Like, how do I know if one bathroom is worse than another one, you know? Because what if details are just not provided?
Exactly. And that's why they're all pretty close together. That's why I've grouped them all pretty close together. Unless anyone sees anything specific on the list here in the top 10 that they would like to change, I'm going to make a motion that we take a vote on this and move on. Since it is almost
I do have a problem with the auditorium and the cooling. Other schools are getting that as part of a different project. Isn't 748 a fairly new school?
Yeah.
I mean, it would seem to me that I think I would like to kick that below. It's a fairly new school. Why wasn't this adequately addressed when it was built?
Yeah, that's fair, Vito. That's a project I've sort of had there, just thinking about ventilation sort of issues, but just on the surface, based on nothing more than this one line of text we received, I can agree with that. Where would you see that going, Vito?
Beneath all the auditorium ones for sure, because I think that's more important.
I mean, this is this is auditorium as well. It's cafeteria and auditorium.
Right. I mean, but so 187 is having the project and they're paying for it themselves. Similar product. A lot of other schools have done that as well. They've used different money, the money from their
Right.
stuff to do that project.
Right.
The auditoriums, I like the auditoriums because, you know, it seems like that they're not getting done any other way.
They're not getting done by SCA. I pointed that out at the beginning. Like SCA has not approved any auditoriums in the last 2 years. So. So here's the new list. Projects 1 through 10. So there's 10. We've got all the auditoriums and all the bathrooms and a couple of safety projects in the top 10. And I think that's a very, very fair
Thank you. Yeah.
representation. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to approve our capital project ranking. So is there a second? I'm going to take a vote to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I think all in favor. Aye.
Aye. Do we need to do a roll call vote, Steve?
Yeah, I believe we do. Yep.
Oh.
So Natalia, can you do a roll call vote to approve?
Okay. Steve Stowe.
Approve.
Hey, Jennifer who?
Approve.
Elizabeth Chan. Having trouble. Okay, come back. Vito Labella.
Approve.
Marie Brugueras.
Approved.
Okay. Gara Amin.
Approve.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Approve.
Okay. Yona Isufi.
Approve.
Li Ping Zhang.
Approve.
Okay. Maya Rosenblatt. Okay, come back. Joyce C.
Approve.
Okay. Kevin Zhao.
Approved.
Okay. Elizabeth Chan. Let me see if I can find her. Huh. Okay, she probably got knocked out. Okay, Maya Rosenblatt. Okay, we have 2 non-responsive.
That's okay. I think we can go with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Natalia. Next up, let's move right along to Superintendent Preto. Sir, are you still there? And if you are, thanks for your patience. Dr. Preto, are you still with us?
I have a feeling he stepped away from the computer for a second.
Okay. I will shift to my agenda or my comments. I don't have too many comments and I'm not going to take up a lot of time here. The only thing I wanted to report on is the district leadership team meeting yesterday. We've started the process of, as I've emailed all of you about, discussing the district comprehensive education plan. Specifically, we're in the goal setting phase, which is really the most time consuming phase. We've spent time talking about, so just so for anyone who doesn't know, the DCEP is sort of the guiding document for the district education policy, and in theory, it informs the school comprehensive education plans. And a lot of the DCEP construction comes from the state, and it comes from the city. And so we sort of take this template and we have to pick and choose what we're going to use for District 20. For example, there's the district overarching priority that we have to select. And then we have to select set goals for each of the chancellor's 6 priorities. I'll mention these are former Chancellor Porter's priorities, but we're still using them. And so what we talked about yesterday with the district overarching priority, as I talked to some of you about, is focusing on ensuring rigorous and high quality instruction for all students. We talked a lot about data, what data is available. iReady is a big source for, it looks like we're going to really focus in on the iReady data. We've got a lot of that the district has provided, and it shows really interesting things about where students are, and it shows some projections about where kids could be in the spring if they continue to progress at current rates. And we're going to finalize it. This is just the first meeting. It's going to take more meetings to finalize our goals. And specifically on the Chancellor's 6 areas of focus, there are 3 that really lend themselves to data-driven goal setting. And it's focusing on students with disabilities, focusing on students, English language learners. And I'm temporarily blanking on the 3rd one, but Dr. Preto was going to separate out the iReady data for those different subgroups, and we're going to take a look at it across schools, across grades, and across student cohorts. And I think that just sort of a high level takeaway, one thing I remember from the data is currently something like 60% or so of students are at least 1 grade level below, and the target is to close those gaps between now and the spring. So that's really the learning loss. And one thing we noticed on the meeting yesterday is that the learning loss has been greater in math compared to ELA, which I think a lot of people agreed is reflected in the data, in the stories you see nationwide as well, that the pandemic has had a much a more significant impact on mathematical learning than it has on ELA. So that was pretty interesting to see that actually borne out here in District 20.
Stephen, I think Dr. Preto is going to talk more about that.
Great.
When he gets back on. He got thrown off and he's trying to get back on right now. So he's trying to
someone named
computer.
David Preto is calling me right now.
So he's coming in right now to address those issues and the things you're talking about.
Okay. All right. No
But if
problem.
you want me to talk about my things, I'll talk about my school.
We would love to hear from a principal. Absolutely, Principal Russo. I've enjoyed that in the past. We haven't done it as much this year, but go ahead. How are things going?
Oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but it's okay. Because in District 20, we are really good about supporting each other and doing what we have to do to make it work. And I have to say, my school is amazing. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I hope all of you come and visit us because we have a lot of good stuff going on, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm very, very peaceful about what's going on in my school because I know that we're doing what's right for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's important, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know the issue of schools being open or not is a hot topic in education these days. And,
we had 58, I think we had 58% of our teachers out on Friday. And we knew that was going to happen because of the snow, because of COVID, because of whatever it was. But we were able to cover every class and the kids came in and they were all happy and they're all learning. What's more important? They were all happy and they're all learning.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. But I won't you from Dr. Preto. I know Dr. Preto has important stuff to talk about.
What's important is what's going on the ground in the schools.
Well, he knows that, which I appreciate.
Yeah. He called me. He will be with us momentarily.
Yeah.
Um,
But seriously, Steve, really, I think your people who are liaisons to schools, let us know they're liaisons to schools.
we will.
And I don't know that we take it as seriously as we should.
Yeah.
So I think you need to be a little bit more out there and say, you know, let me come into your school. Let me see what you're doing. Because we're like, okay, this is another person that wants to come in here, but do we really need them in here? I don't mean to say it like that, but you know what I mean?
Understood. You guys are busy. We know.
Yeah,
We get
that's
it.
my point.
We
Right,
get
my
it.
point. But if it's gonna be that important to what's going on in the district, I think we need to do that. We need to be a little bit more forward about how we're coming out there.
Yep. Point taken. Oh, and I see we have David entering the meeting again.
No.
Superintendent, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now. I apologize for that.
Great, no
I don't
problem.
even know where the camera is on this computer. Oh, God, it's ridiculous. My apologies. I'm pulling up the presentation. If I share the screen, it might look a little better. There.
Go ahead.
Never thought I would like this watch, but it came in handy. All right. So good evening. My apologies for the delay on the presentation. I'm just going to pull up my presentation. I do have some slides that we'll be able to discuss our new Chancellor, Chancellor Banks, and his the 4 pillars that he announced for us. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, David. David, now are you speaking? Now you're not audible at the moment.
Okay, I just heard you come back. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try sharing my screen. If that slows it down even more, just let me know and I can come off and just read, but we'll try to share for starts. My apologies again.
David, if you're speaking now, we can't hear you. David, if you have a file, I'm happy to
Yeah,
display it on my screen if you want.
You know what I'm going to do here? I stopped sharing my my camera. Maybe that's helping.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you're audible. You can speak, I think. Although now, if you're speaking now, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm not the only one, correct? Can any other council members hear Superintendent Prato?
No, he's completely silent.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to try and give him a call and try and figure out a strategy here. One moment, please. Okay, I'm going to propose, we'll give Superintendent Preto a few minutes. Why don't we just move on to the public speaking? If there's any members of the public who have signed up to speak here, just in the interest of time, it's 9 o'clock. And so Natalia, and by the way, is that okay with any council members object to that? Moving on to public speaking, and we'll try to get Superintendent back.
No
Okay.
objection.
Great. So Natalia, are there any members of the public who have signed up to speak?
No one signed up with the link.
Okay. Are there any members of the public or any principals or any other members of the, oh, one moment, Superintendent is calling. Okay, so yeah, are there anyone on the meeting would like to speak? And if you would like to, please type your name in the chat or say speak into the chat or raise your hand and we can call on you. And Dr. Preto is taking measures. He was locked out of his office, and so he's trying to find the custodian to get back into his office, just so everyone knows. And he should hopefully be back with us in a few minutes. Why don't we just go to the final agenda item, the resolution. Is that okay with everyone while we wait for our superintendent to hopefully get back in his office?
Yes.
Great. Natalia, would you mind sharing that resolution, please? Thank you so much. Background. I do not intend to call a vote on this tonight, and anyone can call a vote on it if they want to, but I am not going to. And I don't believe it's ready to be voted on, but I did want to bring it up as sort of in a draft form and just to sort of start discussion with people. For anyone who's not aware, New York is a mayoral controlled system. That means the mayor has strong power. Natalia, can you actually scroll to the very end? There's a little graphic that I've created here just to demonstrate this. Everyone can sort of see, this is my rough sort of outline of how the school system works in New York City. And the boxes, you can obviously read what they are, and you can obviously see the lines between them reflect the strength of the relationship between them. And so the mayor sits at the top, the mayor calls all the shots, the mayor appoints the chancellor of education. The first deputy chancellor reports to the chancellor. The executive superintendents report to the first deputy chancellor. The community superintendent reports to the executive superintendent. You can also see the panel for educational policy. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's kind of like a school board with less power, and they cover the whole city of New York. The majority, I think there's 15 members. I think 8 or so are appointed by the mayor. The point is the majority are appointed by the mayor. Another 5 are appointed by borough presidents. CECs have 1 member. Tom Shepard is his name. He's currently our CEC representative on the PEP. And that's a 2-year term. So it's a very, very mayor controlled system. And then down at the bottom, you see the community education councils, and you can see the strength of the lines there reflect the sort of the relative influence that the CECs have over the whole process. You know, it's a weaker line reflecting less sort sort of real influence over the process. And then you can also see citywide councils, citywide council on special ed, citywide council on English language learners, citywide council on high schools. They're not even part of the selection process for the members of the PEP. So anyway, and I'm just putting this out there to sort of, my goal would be for us to maybe have some view on this in the future, not necessarily tonight, because I know it's a complicated issue. And I just want to sort of inform everyone here, these are sort of the major parts of the structure. And there's a movement right now, there's a very, very strong movement going on right now to get CECs to pass resolutions on school governance. I've seen a number of resolutions come by. There's a lot of ideas out there about what would make sense. There's a lot of vocal voices. There were hearings on it last fall. Mayoral control expires in June, and it's a state legislative decision. So it's not up to, for good reason, it's not up to the city, it's up to the state. The state is the one who authorizes mayoral control. It started with Mayor Bloomberg in 2004, I believe. And it's up for renewal in June. So there's going to be a decision. The question is, does it get renewed? And if it does it get renewed with any changes? So that's what the push is right now. That's the push around the city, is what do CECs want to see changed in this process? And I always come back to, you know, a traditional school board in many parts of the country has the power over sort of, it varies, right? But you can have power over budget, you can have power over hiring the superintendent, you can have power over curriculum, and it really varies by state and locality. So there's a lot of things to consider, and I don't pretend to be an expert on all of it. And I don't think CECs are, you know, my view is that there needs to be a lot of power in the hands of the mayor and the DOE to run the system, because you guys know we can't run a system day to day. That's just foolish. And I think most parts of the country, that's the way it works. The school board is pretty hands off with the day-to-day running of the school system. And I can't imagine that changing, to be honest. But there's little things that might be up for change. Quite honestly, if you take some time and read the resolution, one of the things I talk a lot about in here is the process of the superintendent hiring and you know, hiring decision and firing decision and evaluations. You know, we have an input into that process. When superintendent was hired, Superintendent Preto was hired, we were consulted. However, it happened, as Vito knows, it wasn't exactly a transparent consultation. And the manner in which we were consulted was, we had to make some noise on our part to get a fair consultation. And specifically what I mean is the initial consultation consisted of the DOE picking a few CEC members and asking them for their input into the process. And then some others found out and made some noise about it. And ultimately, we ended up getting a full hearing with the whole council on the last CEC term. And we all got to interview Superintendent Preto and Superintendent, you know, the other finalists. So anyway, that's how the process works. You know, that one of my thinking, my thinking about some of this is just, are there tweaks to sort of the governance structure, but without getting into too much into the weeds? You know, we're not going to be managing schools. We're not going to be telling principals what to do. But are there ways, looking at this map here, this graph here, that the arrows between the parents in the city can be made a little stronger, and maybe some of the other arrows between the mayor and the DOE made a little, maybe take away a little accountability there and put a little more accountability in the hands of the parents. That's just what guides my thinking on this. So I'll just leave it there for now, and sort of say, does anyone have any questions or thoughts on that? And I see Superintendent is back, so he's ready whenever we are. But any thoughts from council members on this resolution? And by all means, we can take our time. There's no rush to do anything on this. tonight, I should say. But I would love to hear thoughts in the next weeks or month ahead. Okay. I will now, Natalia, you can, I guess if there's no comments on this particular issue, you can take it down and we can go to David for the final report of the evening. Superintendent, you're back?
I'm back.
Go
President
for
Stowe.
it.
My apologies for the delay, technical and otherwise. I really apologize to everybody for that. So I'll get going with the report here. And I just want to welcome everybody. I'm gonna just hit from current slide here. Okay, so I'm gonna just go over quickly our new chancellor, David Banks, in meetings with principals, superintendents, others, names 4 pillars for success, which I'll share with everybody: health and safety updates, updates to admissions, and then just some brief upcoming dates. So we have a new chancellor, David Banks, on meetings introducing himself and his cabinet to superintendents, principals, and otherwise named 4 pillars for success. So I just wanted to share them with the community. They are to scale, sustain, and restore what works, fully reimagine the school experience for students, prioritize health and wellness and measure its impact, and engage all parents and families. So as we continue to engage more with our new chancellor and be able to connect with communities, I just wanted to make sure that we will we keep you all updated on on the progress of our new leadership in the DOE. Second, I just wanted to give a health and safety update, especially in consideration of our return to school and the uptick of the Omicron variant and the COVID-19 virus in general. So these are, as of yesterday, reported COVID cases in total, and then divided by students and staff, as well as the cumulative reported cases in the DOE September 13th up until January 10th. And these are also reported on the DOE website. In terms of the different actions that are taken in response, this is also the same information from January 10th, as well as the cumulative actions, classroom closures, partial classroom quarantines, which involve less than all students needing to quarantine, non-classroom quarantines where there's a positive case, or otherwise intervention needed that did not result in a quarantine, school investigations, which are inquiries into whether a school needs to be closed, and then actual school closures. Just some updates to the surveillance testing practices and school health policies. So the testing threshold on site, this is surveillance PCR testing that's conducted on school sites weekly. So the testing threshold has been doubled to 20%. The threshold number is calculated based on the number of unvaccinated students in each school. However, consented students, this is students who have provided updated consent forms to test, regardless of their vaccination status, are eligible for testing. In other words, vaccinated and unvaccinated students are eligible to be tested as part of the weekly 20% testing. However, they do have to have provided consent. We really urge families to provide consent if you already haven't done so, and you can do so through the NICSA account, as well as through the vaccine portal when you submit your health screening. At-home testing kits. So this is a new part of the testing strategy and health and safety layers. So test kits have been distributed to all schools as of Monday, January 3rd. Any student or staff member in a classroom where an individual with a COVID-19 infection receives 2 at-home kits. You'll notice that there are different manufacturers, and these tend to be across boroughs, Binax, Flowflex. Flowflex is one that you will see in the borough of Brooklyn. Some manufacturers provide 1 test in a box and others provide 2. However, each person, so student and staff, when sent home with a test kit, should be receiving 2 total tests. When sent home with these tests, individuals should take the test on the first day at home when they receive the kit, and the second 4 days later, or otherwise on the 5th day. You may return to school as long as they test negative and remain symptom-free, and positive test results should be reported directly to the school. The DOE for staff testing, this is different from the thresholds of 20%. The 20% threshold is based off of students. The DOE calculates the maximum number of staff that can be tested at each school, and this is determined by the 10% DOE staff in each school building. And there is a staff testing maximum, which is in addition to the student screening threshold. And this is really in response to how many staff are able to participate in surveillance testing when testing companies come on site and to conduct the surveillance testing of 20% of the students on site. And I just wanted to note that recent guidance has been updated in the policy around students and staff who have tested positive for COVID within the previous 90 days. These children and staff will not receive test kits or should not test within that 90-day window. This has been updated from CDC and our New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And it's a very recent update. With regard to admissions, there were some admissions announcements, and some admissions processes are going to open soon. So I just wanted to briefly review them. So My Schools is the place where all applications can and should be submitted. They also contain all the information around school options, as well as the opportunity to set up applications and submit them and get your offer information. The kindergarten application is currently open, and the deadline to apply is January 18th. I do want to say that historically speaking, the Office of Admissions has extended deadlines in the past. While I'm not saying that that is going to happen this year, it has happened in the past. So more to come on that. The middle school application will open this week, and the deadline to apply will be during the week of February 20th. I believe the final date is March 4th, which is the Friday of that week. Welcome letters were shared with families in December. And finally, the high school application will open up January 24th. I believe January 20th is the actual day that it's going to open. And the deadline to apply will be the week of February 28th. I believe right now the official date that it will close is March 4th. There's an update to the middle school admissions. This happened, I believe, today. They have announced a sibling priority for the middle school admissions process. So starting with these fall 2022 admissions, DOE will phase in a sibling priority for middle school applicants citywide. And what means is this year, students entering middle school in fall 2022 who have a sibling in sixth grade during this school year, 21-22 school year, have a priority to attend the same school as that sibling if they apply to it. And then next year, students entering middle school in fall 2023 who have a sibling in 6th or 7th grade during the 22-23 school year will have a priority to attend the same school as that sibling if they apply to it. So this is also posted on the DOE website, but it was just announced today and posted, so I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to it. There is a middle school admissions virtual event. This is posted on the DOE website, and I wanted to provide this QR code for folks to be able to have access to being able to sign up for it. The dates and times for the admissions virtual event are at the bottom here: January 20th from 5 to 6, January 25th, and January 28th from 1 to 2 p.m. And the available interpretations for those different events are listed next to the dates on the slide. And you'll just notice that it's if you do need interpretation, it's important to note the different interpretation services that will be provided at the different events, as all languages are not interpreted at every single event. And just a 2022 admissions checklist for families as this process gets underway with middle school and high school and continues with kindergarten. Getting the welcome letter in the mail from the counselor from the Family Welcome Center includes the child's My Schools account, which is the place where families can apply and search all their school options. Then to log into My Schools to explore options for middle school, as well as be reminded of your district if that's a question. Find out if there's zoning for your middle school options and save your favorite programs. And finally, check websites to contact them about any virtual online events that are in addition to the central event that I put on this slide before. And then from January into March, logging into My Schools to add programs to your application. If you're applying to specific arts program auditions that are also required as part of the admissions, you can learn about the arts admissions at schools.nyc.gov/MS auditions. And then to apply to middle school by March 1st, it's saying here 2022. So that's the date right now. List up to 12 programs in order of preference with the favorite number 1. And then you can apply with the following ways. Online with myschools.nyc is the recommended method, or in person. For our DOE students, that would be through your child's school counselor. So school counselors have the ability to enter in and submit on behalf of families, but we really encourage folks wherever possible to use the My Schools platform. And then in May, can expect a middle school offer, including any waitlist information, and then be able to add child to additional waitlists, and this is optional. If your child gets a waitlist offer past the deadline for the offer period and in the waitlist offer, the program will contact you directly. And just some tips around applying, just making sure that you understand your options. And this, I know that the council is very familiar with these, but just for the public, district programs that may be these are programs that may be only open to students who live or go to school in the district, or to students who live in a very specific area or zone. And these district programs have historically existed in District 20. There are borough-wide programs open to students who live and or go to school across the same borough as the school. And then citywide programs. One citywide program that exists in District 20 is Brooklyn School of Inquiry. And then 2, to know your chances. The pause on screening will continue as it did last year. So as we did for students entering middle school in fall 2021, DOE will continue to pause screening for applicants applying this year to enter middle school in fall 2022. This means that no students will be admitted to a middle school based on their academic record. Instead, offers to formally screened or composite score programs will be made as they were last year based on the factors already used by most NYC middle schools. Screening is paused because equitable measures for evaluating applicants are again unavailable. And then the 4 admission factors that can help you better know your child's chances for each program. One are your choices. So these are the program choices that you add to your application, and the order in which you place them matters. Each program's seat availability, so the number of available seats at different programs varies. Each program's priority groups is a 3rd admission factor. So some programs use admission priorities, meaning they admit specific groups of applicants before others. And then finally, each program's admissions methods. Some programs make offers in different ways. This can be much more varied and applicable in high school rather than middle school. But we're typically looking at the opened, zoned, or continuing, and then auditions. And I just want to note that this year the arts-based programs in District 21 and other places will be permitted to audition applicants virtually. Consistent with the pause on screening, no academic information or tests will be used to admit students for these programs. And then finally, just some upcoming dates. The mid-year academic screening has gone underway, so students across the district will be engaging in the iReady reading assessment for the mid-year screening from January 10th to the 21st. iReady Math will be January 24th to February 4th. We'll have a makeup week that week of February 7th to February 11th. And finally, the Acadience mid-year screener, that's the K-2 literacy screener, will be ongoing across the entire 5-week window, January 10th to February 11th. And then I just wanted to be able to offer the opportunity to ask any questions, concerns, or comments. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Hey, David, thanks. And,
yeah, no problem.
just-
Sorry, I rushed through it, but I know we've been
okay.
waiting a while.
It's late. The slides you just showed, are they from the DOE or are they your own? Are those posted?
In general, the content that I pulled was from the DOE's website. So all the admissions pieces are all available on the admissions site at schools.nyc.gov. The COVID test information is available on the COVID test map on the DOE website. And Let me see if there's anything else that I was referring to that I can just name. The dates for the screeners are, again, are ours, but the COVID safety information is public. The student screening is from New York City Health and Hospitals and Test and Trace, which was provided to DOE. So I selected slides that were just kind of note that were, I'm sure, being impacted by families and had been part of some questions that we had received from the community since we reopened on January 3rd. But I'm happy to take any other questions or clarify anything.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then, so all the admissions stuff, that's all on DOE website, because we would love to post that stuff, get that stuff on our website as well.
That's right. All of that information is there and more. So
Okay.
including the dates for the virtual admissions, the updates with the sibling priority, which I think literally was posted today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. And what do you think they're waiting for on the academic screen, the question of academic screens? Equitable measures are not available yet. What do you think they're looking for in terms of measures? Do you get any read from Chancellor Banks and a new administration on what they might be thinking about for this category of schools?
No, not yet. We're still waiting for we're still waiting for information regarding, the admissions process, screening, and the gifted and talented process. So if I had more specific updates, I would obviously and definitely share them with you all. But right now, we're just waiting for more information on those pieces.
Right. Can middle schools in D20? I know that we can't use screening, right? So that's an admissions question. You can't admit students based on that. Can middle schools in District 20 still group students by academic ability?
The admissions process is the same as last year. So when children apply to any middle school in District 20, it'll be the same process as last year. There are zone programs and then district-wide programs.
Right, but within the school, can schools group students by academic ability?
Once children are admitted to the school, then the school places students in cohorts based off of a variety of factors.
Okay. And just follow up, Vito has asked last meeting, I think, about Arts Off Third, and I saw the audition information here, and so it sort of, I'm sure he's wondering about it too. It's only been a month since we spoke about it, so not a lot of time has passed, but can we do anything with this? Can we allow them to conduct auditions?
So it's not part. So any auditions that the school would conduct would be after children are admitted to the school. The school is not an audition school. The school is a choice school, and this was confirmed with the Office of Admissions and the folks at District Planning.
And what was the word? I can't remember. I know we talked about it loosely last meeting, but what was to sort of start the process of changing that? What do you have to do?
So I don't know what the process is, to be perfectly honest, where a school's admissions criteria is changed. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Did you ask? You were supposed to ask?
I did.
What did they say? They didn't give you a...
They said that it's not something that has happened. That's not
true. I mean, in 1994, Krista McAuliffe was a zone school, and it changed to a screen school. I mean, it used to happen all the time.
Got it. Yeah,
that was under Bloomberg. To be honest, Bill de Blasio and his chancellors said publicly that they refused to do any other screens, including screened auditions. We have to see what Mayor Adams and his chancellor is going to say.
Hey, Gada, I know you had some questions, right?
Yes. I speak Arabic, so the Arabic translator gonna translate it to English. أنا عندي سؤال بعض من أولياء الأمور
I have a question regarding some parents. They have always asking about
عن عملية تبليغ أولياء الأمور بحالات الكورونا، لأنه بعض منهم بيشتكوا إنه ما بيوصلهمش ما بيعرفوش يعني امتى ان في حالة في الفصل غير بعد وقت. ده بعض منهم كان غضبان لانه دوت يعني اثر على مثلا عيلة بحالها جالها كوفيد، وبعد ما عملوا تحليل ولقوا انهم عندهم كوفيد، بس كان كل العيلة بما فيهم الجدود بالرغم من انهم اخدين التطعيم. في سؤال تاني كمان عن أهمية اللي هي الهيلث سكرين اللي دايما الصبح الأولياء الأمور لازم بتمضيها، بحيث إن الورقة ديت بعض من الأولياء الأمور بيشوف إن هي غير مهمة. بالعكس دي ممكن تساعد على انتشار المرض، لأنه بيقفوا طابور ومسافات بتبقى قريبة قبل ما الأطفال بتدخل المدرسة. ودايما بيعملوها بالرغم ان بعد كده بيكتشفوا حالات، فايه فايدتها؟ هي دي بتضيع وقت وممكن تعرض الاولياء الامور والاطفال اكتر للعرضة ان هم يبقى عندهم يتعدوا ويجي لهم كورونا فيروس.
Okay, so for her first question, she is actually, she said many parents are complaining about how they didn't get involved about how many cases of COVID-19. They always know about it lately. And another concern, and she said when the parent in the morning line up to drop off their kids, they are line up in like in a line close to each others, and she's concerning that will increase the cases of COVID-19 instead of helping the cases to get down. That is all of her two concerns.
So if I hear correct, the two concerns are that there are a lot of COVID cases going on recently, and that is it a particular school? Did I get the first one correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the second concern is that at a school, and my question is this an individual school or is this all schools where the concern is that children are lining up close to each other and that may be increasing the cases?
I will ask her.
هو بيسأل هذا بيكون في مدرسة معينة أو في جميع المدارس؟
أنا أعرف يعني جالي من parents من 3 مدارس مختلفة. السؤال كمان إن هو أول سؤال التأخير في التبليغ عن حالات الكورونا في الفصل، يعني الأطفال في نفس الفصل بيتأخروا في تبليغ عن أولياء الأمور بيشتكوا من كده إنه بيحصل تأخير، فبالتالي التأخير دوت يعني هم في حالة ما عرفوش غير بعد ما هم كلموا المدرسة وسألوهم وبعدين اكتشفوا إنه كان في حالة.
She said that happens in like many schools, not only the schools her kids in, like mostly 3 schools. And for the first question, she was talking about the parents, they don't know about the cases that are positive in the school until too late.
Okay, so with regard to the first question, so schools, when they're notified of positive cases, those cases are reported, and families across the school are notified of positive COVID cases. So schools are sending out school-wide notifications of positive cases in schools, as well as if a child was sitting in a classroom where a positive case had happened, they'll also get a letter that indicates that they were in a classroom and potentially exposed to COVID-19 because of the positive case, and will be sent home with a test kit pack like I described at the top of the presentation. And then obviously positive cases, if they're reported by surveillance testing, then families are contacted directly by the test and trace component of the situation room to notify them of the positive case that need to quarantine. And if they are on school site, will be sent home with the test kits as well. So in terms of reporting, parents should be being notified that positive cases are happening through a school-wide exposure letter that is sent from the Situation Room by the principal or by the principal's designee. So if there are any families that are not receiving school-wide notification letters, the first thing they should do is make sure that they are, looped in with their school's method for communication, all the way from backpacked letters to remind.com, Jupiter Grades, or other messaging systems. If they're having any problems communicating with their school about how their school communicates for positive COVID cases or any other communications, they should be reaching out to their parent coordinator, the principal. And if they have any problem reaching their parent coordinator or principal, they can definitely contact my office and reach out to Bill Chin or Sylvia Jasinski, and they will get connected with their school. But the communication for COVID cases comes along with a school-wide notification letter for all families to be notified that there was a positive case in the school on a particular day. As far as the concern about students lining up to be able to enter into the school, I would really hope that families would be reaching out directly to their principal, and then the same thing, reaching out to my office if there's a real concern about the way in which entry and dismissal is occurring. Our principals are really taking real careful, I've seen a lot of very carefully executed protocols to make sure that children are exiting the building safely and in a distanced manner. So if there are any specific concerns, I'd really appreciate my office being notified so that we can support the school and the principal in ensuring that their methods for entry and dismissal are safe, as well as the protocols that are happening inside the building.
أنا بتكلم عن الصبح لما عند الدخول لازم بيقدموا الورقة اللي هي بتشيك عليها الصبح الهيلث سكرين إنه هو إنه طفل ما عندوش كوفيد وما اتصلش، مش متصل بحد عنده. دي بتاخد وقت وفي الآخر بيرموها. إيه أهميتها؟ دي وبتخلي تخلي أولياء الأمور بيقفوا في الطابور عشان الأولاد يدخلوا ويسلموا الورقة ديت، وفي الآخر الورقة دي بيجمعوها وبيرموها. فليه بنعملها؟ دي ممكن تعرض الأولياء الأمور والأطفال إن هم يجي لهم تزداد حالات الكورونا. إيه الاستفادة منها طالما كل يوم بتطلع حالات من المدرسة already وبيبقى في أطفال موجودين وعندهم كوفيد already.
Okay, so for her second question, she's added that she's talking about the form that the parents, they filled every morning, or the survey about if the kids or the parents or anyone in a family suffering from any symptoms like coughing, fever, whatever. She said, what's the importance of this if it's compared with many cases arrive or many cases in the school, if the parents, they answer, no, there is no cases, and then after that, many cases in the class or in the school.
She's referring to the health screening?
Yes.
So all families have, in order to enter the building, all families have to complete a health screening on behalf of their children, or the child can complete it themselves if they're able to complete it in order to enter the school building. There's no, in terms, I believe I hear that the question is, what is the, if there are positive cases, how is the health screening working? And the reality is the health screening is our first and foremost method for families to communicate what they know about cases for their children and what their children have been exposed to while not in the school building. What the schools can do is maintain health and safety protocols, the layers of protection, including masks, mandatory across the entire building, social distancing. We're now providing test kits with positive cases, and the health screening has been updated to include some additional nuances around the information that we now have about COVID-19 with the rise of the Omicron variant. So it is a little bit more detailed in terms of the responses that families are giving when completing the health screening. But I understand that with a large uptick in cases over the last week since we have returned from break. We really want to make sure that everybody is being as, vigilant and diligent as possible with the information that they're entering into the health screening. And we will be as diligent as we can in ensuring that our health policies, as they are updated, are followed, and that we're keeping everybody as safe as possible. We want to get through this.
David, is there ever a time when schools cannot send kids out, like temperature wise? That's one thing I've heard. Is there ever a time when lunchtime rolls around and it's just too cold, and even though the safety protocol says kids have to be outside eating lunch outside, is there a threshold where schools are not supposed to send kids outside to eat lunch?
Yeah, typically we want to make sure there is a time when children, should not go outside when it is kind of quote unquote too cold. It has varied from chancellor to chancellor. So it has been when it's been single digits, we don't want to send them outside. There is no requirement for children to eat outside for lunch. We do have protocols for children to eat inside, and children are eating inside in cafeterias. We're using a lot of different spaces to conduct mealtime, but there is no. We really want to make sure that when children do stay inside, we want to make sure children get outside and participate and recreate as often as possible. But we do protect against times when it's too cold for kids to go outside, and we do keep them in. But in general, principals really don't like to do that because the more the children are able to be active, the more in a position they are to,
Right.
to learn.
So students should never be eating outside. I haven't heard this directly, but I've heard this secondhandedly. So I'm just curious, and I'm not necessarily sure it even applied to a District 20 school. It might have applied to another school in the city somewhere. But there should never be a case in the winter where lunch is taken outside, even if it's in the name of spacing, right? Getting kids, you can't meet the spacing requirements in your cafeteria, so you send the kids outside for lunch. Is that citywide not approved?
I can't speak to citywide or
Okay.
what different schools do with their outdoor space. I do not advise my principals, and I've worked with our principals around, and they've done a great job with their buildings in terms of like utilizing the space to ensure that children can, that they can serve meals and make sure that instruction happens. It's a complicated thing, but I did not have any principals trying to use an outdoor space and rely upon it in order to have for lunch. In general, you can't rely on the outdoors. The inclement weather just restricts you. There will be times when you can't use it.
Right. Any other questions for Superintendent Preto?
How bad are the staffing shortages at this point due to COVID?
You saw the overall citywide impact of positive cases with staff.
Yeah, but in District 20 specifically, are we more or less impacted than the city?
I don't have comparisons across the city. I do know that the staffing, as well as like student absences, have been a significant impact since we've returned on January 3rd. I also know that we have been able as a district, again, principals and their teams have done a really great job in leveraging all of their on-site resources and resources provided by DOE in order to continue instruction and make sure our schools have remained open and safe. But I'm not going to say that there has not been an extreme challenge in the last week around staffing as well as student absences, as both have been, impacted significantly and noticeably by the Omicron variant.
I'm a little concerned that if this doesn't, and I think the numbers are improving now, but I'm hoping that will continue, because if this rate of absences continues, I do think that it will affect our academic goals for the year. And that would be a big concern for me as well.
It's a big concern for all of us.
I know. We're all very worried about it.
David, I'm just curious, like for all the teacher absences, are those, do you know if those are absences because they have tested positive or because they're just concerned? Or are they calling in sick with some undefined illness? Or
I can't speak to like the cases that, those are going to be on a case by case basis.
Sure, I know. But broadly speaking, are you concerned that there are teachers we know that there are many factions of the UFT that are calling for all remote. We know that there are factions of the UFT that pushed for a walkout 2 days ago or a day ago, whenever that was. All right. I'm just trying to wonder if there are teachers who should be in school or otherwise healthy and should be in school, but are taking this as an activist stance. And are we able to tell the difference between someone with COVID and truly deserves to be out versus not?
I'd be speculating, so I can't really speak to it.
If I was an administrator and those are my employees, I'd want to know. But all right.
Thank you, David.
No problem.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Vito.
Going back to middle school admissions, they gave a preference only to 6th grade siblings. I have parents in 7th grade now. If the goal is to try to help parents to get their kids in the same school, the DOE's policy of not allowing 7th grade sibling choice, because the kid will be in 8th grade next year. I can understand and accept the fact that you don't want to give priority to a present 8th grader because that kid won't no longer be in the school next year. But the rationale behind not giving it to a 7th grader, when most of the siblings are more than 1 grade apart, and it impacts a lot of families that want to keep their school together. Is there anything you could do to help bring that, to elevate that question, to get that for 7th grade as well?
Noted. Yeah, I can definitely raise it up. I see that it was posted and that the scenario described is being phased in and will occur next year. So I can definitely raise it up, but I don't know what that will do, to be perfectly honest, about making any adjustments for this year. But I'll definitely raise it up to the admissions team.
They're going to phase it. They said they were going to phase it in next year. They said that already. They've conceded that point, and it has to do with kids who were allowed to screen when they were coming into the school. They're now 7th graders, and because their families were allowed to screen, they don't want to give those kids any sibling preferences, because it would be giving preferences to children who were academically screened to get into school. But what you're doing is you're discriminating in the name of equity, which happens all the time, and that's a very, very big problem, I believe. In the name of equity, you're discriminating now against families who should have the same right to have a sibling preference as anybody else.
I can definitely raise it up. And I know that I would not be the only one raising it up, but I will definitely raise it up. I don't know what impact it's going to have this year, but I'll definitely raise up the concern. And before we even came on the meeting, I've seen some, concerns being posted out there that are similar to the one that you're raising.
Thank you, David. I appreciate the help.
No problem.
David, is there a new deputy chancellor for admissions? Is Deputy Chancellor Wallach no longer with the DOE? I haven't checked in on that one. Is there a new admissions?
Yeah, Chancellor Banks has brought in a new team. I have not yet been able to be connected with any of the senior leadership that are connected to admissions. It is early, so and I know that our work has been really consumed with responding to the Omicron variant upon returning to school and the new COVID testing. But there is new senior leadership.
I've heard of some of the changes. I haven't in particular heard admissions, if that changed, but anyway, okay. Any other questions, council members? Or are we ready to call it a night here? Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone, for being here. Thanks, Superintendent. Thanks to all the principals and council members. Have a great night.
Thank you all. Apologies again for the delay.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone. To our translators, thank you for staying so late.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.